Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
You're listening to Kenner and Slammer on 1410 ESPN Radio.
We're live. We're local.
What are you going to miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
Indeed.
Well, happy Monday. Same thing. No, Monday's not the equivalent to Christmas.
We're close.
Yeah.
We're 4 days away.
Welcome in. Happy Monday. Justin Kenner, Kev Nash with you here on a Monday coming out of the weekend. This is kind of a wonky Monday. We got the Browns game coming up. Well, maybe not on this station, of course, but we got Browns football. They kick off against the Raiders coming up at 5 o'clock. And, this is how drastic of a game this is for the Browns. If they win, Kev, they sit alone atop the AFC North. Yes, tied technically record-wise, but they would own all the tiebreakers to own the division with the win later on this evening. And then if they lose, they are in last place. That's how drastic and tight it is. Tight, thanks to your stupid Steelers who don't understand their role this year in the whole big scheme of things. Like, you're winning meaningless games. Your team's not making the playoffs. They're not going to they're not winning a Super Bowl. They're not even playing for anything. Like, get out of our way. Like, the fact that the Browns could be 7-7 at the midway point end of this. Wow, it is. It's past the midway point of December. Your Steelers will not get the hell out of the way. Like, your Steelers are irritating me more than anybody else at this point. Who Day? TJ Brescher says, Who Day? Oh, Who Day. That's the team that's going to be behind the Cleveland Browns, hopefully, coming up later on today, or the team that the Browns are looking up at in first place. The Browns or the Bengals will be in first place to lead the division coming up later on this evening. The Bengals, of course, sitting atop right now. But how about the Ravens? Losing 3 straight. They have lost officially 3 straight games now, and the wheels are coming off there. That was a big game yesterday. Let's start with that one, because right now the AFC North, like, we're not talking Browns, Bengals isolated by any means. The AFC North as a whole, every outcome of an AFC North game is impacting everyone around. That's why the Bengals went from 9th to 4th within a snap of a finger. Within the result of 2 games led to them going all the way up to 4th. And it's because, yes, the Ravens lost, but the Bengals got an ugly win. I'm not going to judge them for an ugly win. That's the only way the AFC North knows how to win. It's, someone commented on my Facebook page yesterday, kept saying, man, this is the best division in football. I'm like, not even close, but it is the most competitive. It's the most competitive. They have 4 of the best defenses in the NFL and 4 of the ugliest offenses I have ever seen. It was painful. I would rather have just been getting a paper cut every 60 seconds than watching Joe Burrow and that offense yesterday. That was brutal. It was like watching the Browns offense. It's like watching Baker Mayfield go up against the Lions, watching Baker Mayfield go up against your Steelers. It was brutal. That was absolutely painful yesterday, and it's painful every game. The Ravens put up the ugliest 30 points I've ever seen in the history of football yesterday. Your Steelers, every point that they put up, it's like it hurts them. Big Ben loses a year off his life every time they put a touchdown up on the board, Kev. It is unbelievable. Top to bottom, it is the worst offensive league as a whole in the entire league. But there they are. Your Steelers could accidentally make the playoffs. Like, that's what's crazy. And I shouldn't even say accident. By the way, people are irritating me. I know what the fun thing to do is to hate the Steelers, to hate the black and yellow. I get that. But everyone needs to stop with this Harbaugh Coach of the Year stuff. Tomlin. The fact that it's December 20th and Tomlin is still a game out of first place, Tomlin deserves Coach of the Year honors right now. The Ravens are one thing. You have Lamar Jackson, and you see when you don't have Lamar Jackson, you've lost 3 straight. I see. But no, what Mike Tomlin is doing with an 80-year-old quarterback, with one of the worst O-lines in football, a run game that at times looks like he can get going and then completely stops. There's no excuse for the Steelers to be in this. Mike Tomlin deserves Coach of the Year honors before Harbaugh. Harbaugh literally cost his team a game yesterday. Where are you at with the decision to win it at the end of regulation instead of going into overtime on your home field?
I loved both of them. I loved it versus Steelers. even though it would have been bad for my personal team. And I loved it yesterday. You have a second.
What was the scenario with the Steelers? What was it the same one? I don't know why.
It was exactly the same thing. They scored a touchdown on their final drive and called them over just to play, go. And it's exactly what Coach Tomlin said. They are predictable because they're going for it. Like it's no mystery. It's no, we're going to think about it. We're going to try to draw you off sides. They're going for it. And all the things that they were doing earlier in the season and succeeding on all those wacky 4th downs, 4th and 5s and 4th and 1s and going for it inside the red zone, going for 2, all those were happening in their favor earlier in the season. And now the pendulum has swung to the other side where it's not going their way. When you create an identity for yourself as a team and as a head coach and says, this is what we're going to do and we're going to do it, I have no problem with it. I have a problem when dudes start going out of themselves and saying like, oh, no, now we're going to start doing it like in the middle of the season. This has been Harbaugh. This has been his deal since the jump. Now we can argue about the play call, like a sprint right, like the cut the half, the field and a half. I'm not sure about that. Like if you have a more experienced quarterback instead of a second-year quarterback, maybe you can do a sprint right and they have the patience to wait for somebody to come open on the back end or whatever. But like, you got to think, man, Huntley, this is the first time ever taking all the first team snaps all week long. So probably during the practice, they're like, all right, let's practice our 2-point conversions because we're going for 2. Oh man, this play is always open. I'm going to throw it to him every time. And he was killing it every time. I'm talking about their tight end from the Ravens and everything like that. So he's throwing that pass regardless, because in practice, it works. In practice, he's open. But Green Bay dude buzzed right over there and knocked it away. I have no problem with it. And I really don't have necessarily a problem with him constantly doing it because that is his MO. That is what they do. They've been doing that basically since Lamar took over as a starting quarterback. They said we're anything 4th and 3 on the opposite side of the 50 we're going for. And that's what they do. So I really don't have a problem with it.
Well, I've already started to slowly give up on baseball. Football needs to slow the hell down before I start getting pissed off with that too, because that's ridiculous. First of all, results matter. You're defending the decision regardless of the outcome. And when have we gotten to that point? Not necessarily you, but just people all day on social media. And then, of course, I'm getting so sick of ESPN's national lineup during the day. I mean, they're nauseating, and I don't even care if we're part of ESPN's affiliate because, oh, my gosh, Harbaugh, what a dude. He should get coach of they lost. I've never heard of a coach losing a game because of his decision and then he should win coach of the year honors. No, like Mike Tomlin is literally winning games that he shouldn't be winning. You are losing games that you have a shot to win because you're being aggressive at dumb times of the game. Here's the deal. If you're the Lions and you have the Packers on 4th down, or I'm sorry, you score a touchdown and you're within an extra point of tying it to go into overtime. If you're the Lions and you have nothing to play for, the fact they're even in the game with the Packers at the end, that's a win in itself for a team like the Lions who are desperately looking for a win, right? And you want to say, you know what? No, we're not going to go for overtime. We're going to go for the gut punch. We have nothing to lose, right? We have one of the worst records in football. If we make this great, it's one of the best wins of our year, and we'll always circle this as one of the highlights of the year. And if we lose, well, we're the Lions. We're supposed to lose. But you've talked about all year that, it's that's who Harbaugh's been. That's fine if it works. But you lost to the Steelers with a 2-point conversion attempt. You've now lost to the Packers with the 2-point conversion attempt. We need to get to the point to where we got to stop praising guys for doing the right thing, even though it doesn't end in the result that matters. You are paid to win football games, and you have been in complete you controlled this division from the very beginning somehow. And now you've lost it because that aggressive play calling got you in position to lead the division, but it's also cost you the division at this point. This is why I'm not a big Zach Taylor fan. But Zach Taylor and the Bengals won that game yesterday for the second. They had a chance to win last week against the Niners. I still am a fan of not letting Joe Burrow throw when they got into Niners territory last week, because put 3 points up, let your defense. You got to trust your defense. You got to play smart. It cost Zach Taylor. I don't even know if it cost Zach Taylor the game. The defense didn't do what they've been doing the whole game, which was shutting down the Niners defense. You got to trust them to do that. But then yesterday, same thing, a very ugly game against Denver. And it was third and 8 or whatever. And instead of throwing it to try to pick it up, and by the way, if Joe Burrow completes that at the 2-minute warning coming out, the game's over. They just hand it off and secure it. But they handed it off to punt it off, and they had to rely on their defense. A very similar situation, and it resulted in a win. Zach Taylor's decision to not let Joe Burrow throw it there for the second straight week, it resulted in a win this time. You're going to win some and lose some, but the problem is now you're straight up just losing games. And I agree with you, by the way. If they have Lamar Jackson and they want to pull that yesterday, I could stomach that a little more. If you have a backup quarterback in, what you're putting up, first of all, you want to talk about analytics and what the analytics show. The analytics also show that it's tough to put the ball in the end zone once, but to do it on back-to-back plays, that's also very tough. And you add the element of, oh, it's Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. You add the element of, oh, man, I'm a backup quarterback, and this is all like it's foreign to me a little bit. There was just nothing that made sense about that call. I cannot believe, and that's fine that you praise it. I want to praise it, but I think every circumstance is different. This is why I hate analytics. Analytics across the board show what the percentages show. You should go for it there. Well, do those analytics, what variables do they consider? The type of defense you're going up against, the type of offense that you have, the time of the game in which the 2-point conversion you're going for. This is why I hate analytics, is because it doesn't tell the complete story. You're taking, in the NFL, there is so many different quarterbacks, so many different styles of offense, different offensive coordinators, different decision-making, aggressiveness from these coordinators, from these head coaches. I don't care what the analytics show in that regards, because yes, you may think it tells a complete story based on the sample size, but why don't you shrink the sample size to, okay, what is the backup quarterback's numbers like in high pressure situations? That's the problem I have with it last night. I don't know why I'm angry. It sets up a situation for the Browns to take control of first place. But what annoyed me today was just all day Harbaugh, such a great coach. And he is, by the way. I'm a fan of Harbaugh with Baltimore. Can't deny the job he's done, especially, going from Flacco to obviously Lamar Jackson and, having the guts to build around Lamar. When everyone's telling you he's a wide receiver, he's a running back, why would you step away from what everyone else is doing to build an offense, run a running quarterback when there's no history of that showing you getting to the promised land? He bought into his players, so that's what I respect about him. Puts trust in his players. But I disagree with the narrative that he went for 2 yesterday because he trusted his team. Kev, to me, that screamed, I don't trust my team. I don't trust my defense. He feared Aaron Rodgers, which is understandable. But I don't think that was a good move yesterday. And at the end of the day, even if the numbers show that was the right decision, when did the numbers showing that that's the right decision to go for it outweigh the number that matters most, which is the win? You've lost 3 straight now. 2 of the 3 losses have been because of the decision making on that end, including the attempt to go for it early in the first half against the Browns. That honestly, if they just kick a field goal instead of going for it on 4th down deep in Cleveland territory, they probably beat Cleveland last week. So that's technically 3 straight weeks, 3 straight losses, 3 straight potential wins that they had in the cup of their hand, palm of their hand. That because of that aggressive play calling, you can be aggressive, but it needs to lead to wins, and it's not leading to wins. In fact, you've lost the division lead, you've lost 3 straight, and you've honestly probably lost control of your chance of making the playoffs. I'm not a fan of it. I see what you're saying, but I don't know. Not a fan of it.
To rewind to the Browns game, I'm not a fan of passing up points. They have probably the best kicker ever in the NFL. So basically, when you're past the 50-yard line with Justin Tucker, you're almost automatically guaranteed 3 points. I was talking to my brother about this last week. We were both watching the Chargers game versus KC last week on Thursday. I guess this was the past Thursday. And the Chargers kept on going for it inside the 5. I understand the importance of getting 7 as opposed to 3, because I'm a person that believes 3 points get you beat.
From last week, the game from last week. Yes.
And not only didn't they score a touchdown, but they turned the ball over too. Like, it was just so wacky that they went for it 3 times and didn't come away with any points. So, you do the whole numbers and say, well, if they get in there 3 times and they are held to a field goal, you get 9 points, you still win the game, everything like that. I do have an issue with that. The reason I don't have an issue with Harbaugh going for 2 versus Steelers or versus Green Bay as much, especially versus Green Bay, is because it is Aaron Rodgers on the other side. You're basically putting the game in your own hands. You're controlling your fate and your destiny as opposed to a coin flip. If the Green Bay Packers get the ball, I think everybody in their right mind is going to say, oh, yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It always happens. It's freaking Aaron Rodgers. Oh, Tom Brady's getting the ball back with 1:30. What's going to happen? It's like one of those scenarios, like you could have the best defense of all time. You got an 85 Bears, but, man, if Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady gets it, man, they probably going to score. So if I score here, that's game, set, match. I don't want to go to overtime. I want to win it. Now, if we want to argue about the Steelers one, he claimed that, they were banged up in the secondary. I say I would have been more on
that secondary since preseason, but
and then they lost.
It was even worse. Humphrey or whatever.
Humphrey went down. If we're gonna, he is a guy that says this is our philosophy and this is what we rolling with regardless. I understand where you're coming from, and I'm more on your side than you actually think. I am a person that like, all right, man, you have to adjust to the situation. In that situation versus Steelers, I would have kicked the extra point. I would have been saying like, yeah, Ben, it's been hot in the fourth quarter, but it's been hot in the fourth quarter versus the Chargers. It seems like he's only hot in the fourth quarter. It seems like quarters 1, 2, and 3, he's terrible, and so is their offensive line. So I'll roll the dice and say they're not going to go down there and score a touchdown. They'll probably get to the 50s, kick a field goal maybe, and we still have a chance to win it. But versus Aaron Rodgers, nah, I want to end this. I want to end this now. And think about all the momentum and that will bring to your team after a victory like that. Unfortunately, they lost, but they still got games ahead. So I really don't have a problem with it, but I get what you're saying. Like when you roll the dice so many times and you come up craps, basically 3 straight weeks, people forget about you hitting 7s earlier in the season. We at the back end of the season now, these games are far more critical. It's almost like the NBA where a foul in the first quarter versus a foul in the fourth quarter. Like, oh, man, that's a bad call, ref. You weren't complaining about that call in the first quarter. It's the same call that is in the fourth quarter. So, like, now that we in crunch time, this stuff is starting to add up. And everybody in the AFC North has 6 losses. So, like you said, every win, every loss changes things so dramatically. Like everybody's sitting there with a chance to win the division. And we were talking about this probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago where I said, there's only going to be one team to come out the AFC North. Like last year, there were 3 teams to make the playoffs. This year, the division winner is only coming out, man, and it's up for grabs.
Yeah, and I'm just one of those where this is why I hate analytics in baseball and I hate it in football is because everyone, like baseball has been ruined by it to an extent because it's become a blueprint sport. Like when I go to watch a baseball game, to me, I just think a sport should never be when this happens, you do this. When this happens, you do that. Every team has a different persona. Every team has a different identity. Every team has different strengths and weaknesses. So how can you have a do-all manual for a sport that everyone is different from top to bottom? Talk about baseball, and it's the same in football. I've actually praised football because football has gone away from there was a point where it felt like everyone was trying to do you have to have a spread offense to win. You have to pass to win. It's the only way you could do it. Now look at everyone doing everything different. Running quarterbacks, run dominant offenses. We're seeing that from the Cleveland Browns. We're seeing that from a lot of from the Colts. We're seeing that from a lot of teams. Everyone's winning in different ways. I mean, the AFC North is winning in spite of absolutely bad offense. The Steelers' offense is painful, but they make just enough plays to give them a shot. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they're the ones that frustrate me the most. Not taking a shot here. If you guys don't like it, that's just too damn bad. You guys need to be realistic here. Your offense the reason I'm most critical of the Bengals offense is not because I'm a hater. It's because I'm basically agreeing with everything you guys are saying, all while you guys refuse to accept the fact that your offense sucks to a certain extent because you put 15 freaking points up. The Browns put up 14 points with all backups. You put up 15 with all your guys, and you're going to 1 or 2 guys out. I get that, Riley Reef and others, but you didn't have any of your main hitters out. You had Joe Mixon, you had Tyler Boyd, you had T. Higgins, you had Jamar Chase, you had Joe Burrow. So, your offense is ugly, and I don't really understand why. So fix that, would you? You should be winning games because of that offense and closing it out because of the defense. Your defense is having to do all the heavy lifting for you. There's no excuse. The Cleveland Browns run offense. They're handing it off. it's all up on the run game. You got to hope Baker Mayfield can complete 2 or 3 passes outside of his comfort zone to give him a shot. They have the third string quarterback starting for him tonight, so I expect another ugly offensive performance. And I'm not going to lie to you. Everyone's like, oh man, Baker didn't get cleared, they're screwed. I'm not going to lie. I love Baker Mayfield, but with everyone out, even if Baker's playing tonight, I'm not going to sit there and pull the blanket up closer to my chin at night. I'm not going to be like, oh, I could sleep tonight because Baker's playing. No, like this team has problems. The offense has been horrible with and without Baker all year. It's going to be ugly tonight with or without Baker. That's just how it's been. The Ravens offense has been ugly because Lamar Jackson, it's spot plays for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson will make these insane Sports Center top 10 caliber throws, and then he'll have 4 interceptions in between it, right? Like he has a lot of bad plays, but that's everybody. Joe Burrow last night, that big ass play to Tyler Boyd. Super. After that, though, what happened between that? You take that big 50-plus yard play from Tyler Boyd away. That was a bad performance last night from Joe Burrow, who completed a high percentage of his passes. I will give him this. This is where Zach Taylor, who I threw in the fire last week, I actually think he's done a very good job coaching Joe Burrow because he's not letting Burrow blow up the game. He's letting Burrow make enough plays to win it, but not letting him get too much of the pie to where he blows it all up. The conservative play calling worked yesterday, by the way. I don't hear anyone praising him for it. Everyone only wanted to rip him for it last week when it cost him a game. That's just how it works. These offenses, Kev, are brutal. Watching a Ravens game, your Steelers game, Browns, Bengals, folks, we're all sitting here arguing about who the tallest fifth grader is because I'm not allowed to say the other word anymore because it's offensive. The short people, whatever, like the tallest short person. You're arguing over who the tallest short person is. That's not a contest that anyone's really winning. And that's what we're doing in the AFC North. Oh, I'm better than you. You're not better than me. We're all just trying to figure out who's going to be the last one standing. And that's really what this is coming down to. But it's fun. For the Browns and Bengals, meaningful games in December is fan-freaking-tastic, and it's pretty fun. But, man, the offenses are hard to watch.
It's a war of attrition, man. It's a war of attrition. We're sitting here hoping and wishing that we could just score. Like, I'm talking as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yep.
You're getting all these turnovers. You're forcing turnovers. They're giving you turnovers. And you can't move the ball at all. And all I'm thinking to myself is, this is how you get beat. This is how you get beat. Your defense plays pretty good football. You force some turnovers, and you still lose because you're kicking field goals. You're only up 6 points. They have the ball. And to expect the defense to try to get a 5th turnover, for goodness sakes, because if you watch the game, the real way they were stopping them was getting turnovers because they really weren't stopping them. They were just getting turnovers, which is great, but ultimately, you want to get stops and get them off the field and punt. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, we're going to lose this game by a point because we can't stop them. Eventually, they're going to score. You're not going to continue to stop this team in this situation. And what a play by Joe Hayden, man. What a play.
What the heck was that?
What
Full
a play.
Extension.
What a play, man. He's been,
oh my goodness,
he's been out for I want to say 2 or 3 weeks. He comes back. Makes I don't even know what they called that. I don't know if they called that a fumble. I don't know if they called that an interception or whatever it was. It was a crazy athletic play. And then the tackle he made on the 4th down to stonewall the receiver. Look, man, I'm sure all the high school coaches out there in the area were grinning ear to ear because that was textbook tackling.
Yep.
He tackled not only the player, but he tackled the ball and stopped his momentum. And that was outstanding. That was an outstanding play. You make a play when your team really needs it, especially when you're talking about a team that has no offense. I'll just say it the way it is. They have 0 offense. You can't convince me any otherwise. Oh, man, we're just a couple plays away. Look, man, they ain't got no offense. If you're relying on a 50-year-old quarterback to pull out magic from his heyday, that's just not going to get it done. But I keep saying that, and we're still sitting right there. And we're looking at a situation where everything's on the table, and it's exactly how the NFL wants it. They want it on the table for everybody at the back end of the season to have these kind of discussions left and right. So everybody's sitting at basically 8 wins, 6 losses in the division. Browns going for that 8th win tonight at 5 o'clock. It's right there for the taking for everybody.
518-1410. We kind of covered a lot in the first half hour of the show, but I want to get everyone's take on this as well. We'll start with the analytics side. on the Harbaugh thing, and by the way, to recap that real quick, and we'll get to the calls on the other side. I hated the decision from Harbaugh, but I also love aggressive coaches too. But I just think, to recap that, you got to pick your spots. I think you got to kind of know and understand your team. And I'm not saying I understand Harbaugh's team more than he does. But at the end of the day, and I say this all the time about baseball, I don't know how you fire managers in baseball anymore, because all of these teams have invested so much money into the analytical research that you don't invest all that money into that to have your manager say, yeah, I'm not going to use this.
Right.
You have to use it. So if you're losing games because you're pulling pitchers early in a contest because the analytics say to, and you lose because you did that, how do you blame the manager? Managers can go to that team owner and say, you're going to fire me because I didn't win enough games, but I lost all these games because I'm doing what you told me with these analytics. We're going to get to that same point in football where, you're going to get to a certain point where Harbaugh could say, yeah, but what's the owner's name for the Ravens? I always forget. You can't fire me. I'm doing what you told me to. I'm using these analytics. You paid all this money for this analytical research. I'm using it. It's costing us games because, hey, the analytics show that you should go for the 2-point conversion because it's, I think it's like a 39%, success, a rate that you'll succeed on it. Success rate. What the hell is that word I'm looking for?
Success rate.
Success?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's this? Well, that's interesting. I don't know what that's.
Holidays are here, man.
Wow. A success rate. Nice. I want. Anyways, okay. Focus. The point is, that's what I find. I think it's lazy coaching, though. Well, we're going to go for it because the analytics show too. Yeah. Well, do the analytics include the full body of work? As I said earlier, that's why I hate when you look at you go to a classroom. Say, well, what's the classroom's cumulative GPA? And it's like, well, it's not that high, but we do have like 6 straight A students who are really, really smart. Oh, no, they're dumb because they're lumped in with everybody. And the dumb, you're only as fast as your slowest runner. That's where you're only as fast as your slowest runner. And that's how it all. So that's why I don't like analytics. Your analytics are showing you a percent that, well, I don't know what to believe. I don't think all those factors are contributed in there. But 518-1410, do you like the Harbaugh aggressiveness to go for the 2-point conversion? I'm hitting every wrong button today. I hit the Kinner and Schlemmer intro earlier, by the way. But, it is interesting when you look at it. Harbaugh, did he make the right decision to go for the 2-point conversion to beat the Packers to avoid overtime yesterday? 518-1410, if that was your team, Bengals fans especially, you were all about being ticked off last week. Oh, man, Zach Taylor, he's not aggressive enough. Well, you want aggressive? We saw aggressive last night, and it cost the Ravens a game. We saw conservative cost the Bengals a game last week. We saw aggressive cost the Ravens a game this week. We saw aggressiveness cost the Chargers a game earlier in the week. I think every coach should coach his team how he believes is fit, but it doesn't mean that just because you could justify your decision-making, at the end of the day, doesn't mean that you're immune to getting criticism. And I think that's where we're at with the Ravens right now. It's a results-based business. The only thing that matters is wins and losses. I don't care about the percentages of 2-point conversion success rates, as Kevin calls it, success rates, right? So at the end of the day, it's a results-based business. The Ravens have lost 3 straight, your most recent one being last night because you opted to go for the 2-point conversion with the backup quarterback with a bunch of injuries against a good Packers team instead of, hey, our bad offense got us to this point. Our bad defense kept us in the game long enough to make this comeback, got just enough stuff. You couldn't trust them for one more 10-minute overtime period? I have a hard time with that, and I wonder what the locker room is like too. What is when you go back to that locker room and you make eye contact with your defensive guys, Kev, you think they're looking at Harbaugh saying, what the hell, man? What the hell? If I'm the offense, if I'm that backup, I'm looking at him saying, why'd you put me in that spot? Now I look bad. Backup quarterback. I'm the problem. Why'd you put us in that spot? You got Justin Tucker. Go get that extra point. Get it. 518-1410. We'll have some of your responses on the other side. Bengals fans mad that I called out their offense. Get over it. If you're defending that P-poor offense that we've seen for far too long now, I don't know what to tell you. The Browns have a lot of excuses why that offense isn't clicking. Injuries, they've yet to have everyone back for more. They've only time they've had 95% of their offense. I heard this stat today. The Browns have only had one game where they've had 95% or more of their offensive pieces out there, and it was week one against the Chiefs. There's only 1 week that the Browns have had 95% of their starters coming in all out on the field. I'm not asking you to feel sorry for them. I think it's pretty damn impressive that they have that. Even with that, they have their 1 win away tonight from being the division leaders. It's pretty dang impressive. The Steelers have no business being sniffing around the division lead. Here they are. The Ravens, with all the injuries coming into the year, with Lamar not playing great, Lamar willing them to wins on some nights and handing games away on other nights, missing games, backup quarterbacks, depleted secondaries. Here they are atop of the division still. All right. Every team in the AFC North has an excuse for why that offense is not playing well. And then there's the Bengals. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar, number 5 overall pick in the draft, Chase, Joe Mixon, Joseph Burrow. And yet here you are putting up 15 points and just continuing to struggle offensively. You have no excuse. Don't give me that poor offensive line excuse either, because maybe you really want to get me in on the offensive line, because maybe the offensive line should. I mean, looking last night, you guys won with Jamar Chase with 3 freaking yards. Obviously, you didn't need him to win that game. You know what you did need to put it away sooner was an offensive line, if it's really what you're trying to convince me of. Every offense in the AFC North has an excuse for why they don't play well, except yours. Figure it out. Don't come at me with that weak stuff. Oh, the offensive line. Your team always has had a bad offensive line. They still do. Have no faith that they'll ever figure it out moving forward. So you're always going to use the O-line as an excuse, or you're going to keep defending your team's ability to take a wide receiver over offensive linemen. Sucks to be wrong, don't it? Looks like Kinner was right. How about that? We'll be back in a moment. Merry Christmas.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Gather near and bring the cheer this holiday season. Dazzle and delight the love of your life with a gift from Hellsberg Diamonds. Don't miss great prices on stunning diamond studs, tennis bracelets, gemstone rings, and the year's must-have look, gold jewelry for stacking and layering. There's still time to gift and save. Get half-carat total weight diamond studs for $399.99, a savings of $200. Visit Hellsberg.com or a store near you. Limited time offer while supplies last. See online or in-store for details.
Want to get out of your dead-end job, but think you don't have time? Think again. Now you can complete the My Computer Career Evening Program in 30 weeks, almost 30% shorter. You could start your new life as an IT pro in months, not years. More than just a school, My Computer Career helps you get into the industry by working with employers that have hired our students. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno-country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Have you heard about the Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Help Center? We provide legal information, programs, and resources that may be available to you. The Help Center cannot provide legal advice, but we can provide information on a variety of topics, including expungements, protection orders, identity theft, and more. We are out in the community several days a week, and we've recently partnered with the Dayton Metro Library's many locations. Visit courthouse2u.com to learn more. Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts, Mike Foley.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno-country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Did you know that most adults with autism are unemployed, and a major hurdle is the lack of job opportunities? That's why Autism Speaks is teaming up with Lee Container, the J. Donald and Laurel Lee Family Foundation Fund, and Delivering Jobs to create a more inclusive workforce in the U.S. Are you an HR professional, community leader, or business owner? Join us in creating a workforce where people of all abilities can contribute and thrive. To learn more, visit autismspeaks.org/employment.
Furnished by the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
In college football, Goodyear knows a new season means new possibilities, where every Saturday is an opportunity on the road to greatness. No matter if you're out there playing your hardest or cheering the loudest from the sidelines, tailgating in the parking lot, or your favorite spot to watch the game, Goodyear knows passion is what drives us forward all the way to the playoffs. That's the road that moves us. Goodyear, more driven.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Give the gift of a Dayton tradition. Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps. Milano's gift cards are the perfect way to give good times and those favorite subs and pizza to family and friends. Right now, for each $25 Milano's gift card you buy, you'll get $5 more free.
Freshen up your bathroom this season with help from Menards. Save big money on a new Delta shower. Menards carries a wide variety of Delta bath products to fit your lifestyle, like the High Crop Shower. Engineered for style, design, and durability, Delta High Crop Showers are mildew resistant and low maintenance. Stop into Menards and save big money on all your home improvement needs. Plus, give the perfect gift with the Menards gift card today.
More seasons, greetings to you all from Menards.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, the Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, welcome back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Monday. Phone lines, as usual. We're acting up a little bit. But you want to know how much we love doing this show and hanging out with you guys every day. We're missing our Christmas party today, so we could be here with you. I thought about, having a little cough or something today, so I can join our virtual Christmas party and win some prizes today. But no, I said, no. Want to talk Bengals, want to talk Browns, want to talk Buckeyes. You never know how big a Bengals fan I am.
Not only that, but the Browns game is on early today, so we're going to be on the air as that happens.
Yeah, and by the way, a lot of shows do this where they're on live as all the games are going on and just getting an instant reaction to all the games. I would love to do that, but that whole working a 6th day of the week thing, technically already doing that, it's not for me, But I would love to be on the air on Sundays, like during the games, and just getting that instant reaction. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be cool to do.
React.
Maybe I'll just take every Friday off in exchange for Sunday.
Be cool to have every Friday off, right?
So felt like people are calling in and we can't hear them. So we are getting that addressed. So be patient with us. But the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash brought to you by Orion Sports Medicine, Tim's Bar and Grill on Brown Street, and of course, Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. If you're looking to buy or sell your home, give Brad Mays a call today, 937-572-7425. One more time, Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Give him a call if you're looking to buy or sell your home, 937-572-7425. My fiance and I are using Brad right now to finalize the purchase of our very first home together, and Brad has been absolutely awesome the entire process and every step of the way, and has just been a good facilitator of, between us and the sellers, and just making sure that everything's getting done on time, which is awesome. And like I said, I wouldn't want to do that. I thought about it one time. I'm like, man, being a realtor would be kind of cool, get to deal with it. But knowing now that I'm going through this and I see all the work he has to do with just it's tedious stuff. I'm not a tedious person, man. I
have to be very organized as well.
Yeah, that ain't me either. So that's why there's the Brads of the world to help make sure you get that perfect home. So give Brad a call today, 937-572-7425. Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Shout out to Brad. Appreciate him being a part of the show, helping us bring you this show every day. So I don't know if that makes you like him or dislike him, but hopefully you like him. So you either blame him for helping bring us to you every day or what. But nonetheless, the show started with all day long been talking about analytics in football, and it's starting to creep its head into it. And I think that analytics play a huge role in all sports. Analytics have always been used. I don't like when people try to say that analytics peeked its head into sports within this last decade. Analytics have always been used.
Right.
When you watch film and you start paying attention to, every little detail of anything, 30% of the time on this play, they like to go to this guy. Analytics have always been used, but analytics have always been used as a way to kind of take notes and be prepared for what to expect, not to make you totally just dumb down your reaction to things. And just like, I don't like the manual approach. When this happens, push this button. If it makes this noise, then you need to turn this off, reset it, hold down for 10 seconds and call your customer service rep to help you through the rest. No. Like everything in life and sports is always, because it's different. Every opponent you face is different. Nothing is the same. I can't sit there and say that the analytics say that, 38% of the time you're going to succeed on 2-point conversions. Okay, well, we have almost a 40% chance of succeeding on this 2-point conversion. Let's roll with it. Well, what is calculated in that number? Because we're going up against a very good defense today. Some of these numbers include going up against bad defenses or really, really good defenses or middle of the line defenses. How does that number tell a story? I don't like that. I can't get down with that, especially in the NFL. Like in baseball, Kev, I kind of get it because everyone's following that. Everyone is hitting a certain way, building their lineups a certain way, playing the shift, not bunting anymore. You know what I mean? Like everyone is following the same rules. They're all cooking using the same recipes and the same ingredients. So it's easier to maybe get an analytical number that tells a story across the board to a certain extent. But in football, when every defense is different, when every offense is different, when every scheme is different, when every environment is different, that's where I have a hard time letting advanced analytics tell a story that may or may not exist. Analytics show that take deep shots. So, okay, if you have a quarterback that can't throw down the field, are you going to take deep shots because the numbers say, hey, the success rate's pretty high if you try to attack the defense down the field? No, because you don't have the quarterback to do that. That's baseball. Oh, I don't have a great pitcher, or I have a really, really good pitcher who's pitching really, really well, but I got to take him out after the third inning because the analytics show us. So I got to go to a less talented pitcher to appease the analytics. It drives me crazy. It's the same thing I've been saying forever about baseball. Now we got to worry about it with football. I love aggressive coaches in football. I think it makes for drama. I was on the edge of my seat for that Ravens-Packers game because so much was on the line. If the Ravens convert on that 2-point conversion, they win the dang game, and then the Browns are still and the Bengals would have been impacted by that as well. It would have kind of nullified anything that the Browns or Bengals do. You take the same scenario from this weekend into next and play it all over again. But man, it drives me nuts. I don't think he played that smart. I love the aggressiveness. It was good for me as a fan, but overall, you lost your team a game by going for the 2-point conversion. It does. I'm not saying that they would have won in overtime, but I am curious if this was the Browns or the Bengals and our coaches did that. If Kevin Stefanski had, like next week when they got the Packers, if the Browns have a chance to tie the game up at the end of regulation and he opts to go for it as opposed to tie it up with the extra point, I'm going to be pissed if they lose. Like, I'm going to be furious. Sure, I'll jump for joy if they win, but I'm not going to appreciate the risk. You're going to risk everything. A division lead, a playoff spot over this? Like, no. You have too good a defense, too good offense, take it into overtime. But the analytics are like, well, no, you got to go for it here. You got to go for it here. You don't got to go for it there. Take your chances in overtime. But like we said, every team's different. Harbaugh knows his team. He clearly didn't trust that defense. He clearly didn't trust that the rookie quarterback was going to be able to face the pressure in overtime. You mean to tell me that the overtime pressure is higher than the pressure of, man, I got to complete this pass or the game is done? I think that that's more pressure-filled than the other. So I don't know. But it is interesting, and it'll be a talking point moving forward.
Oh, for sure. I don't really view Harbaugh as the analytics guy. I think I view him as we're going for it guy. We are, I believe in my guys type of coach. Because when I watch these press conferences that he talks about or that he's on and everything like that, I never hear him bring out, well, the numbers say this, the numbers say that. It's like, well, I believe in my team. We roll the dice, we go for it. But when I hear Brandon Staley talk, I hear him talk about numbers. So maybe he's not saying the numbers and maybe that's what he believes, but I get the analytical stuff from Brandon Staley as opposed from Harbaugh. Because, I mean, they talked about it. Even in the Browns game, they were going for it on 4th and 4 on their side of the field, like at the 30, going for it. Like, yeah, the numbers say that we should do this. Like I can't get down with that.
Yep.
Like, I mean, maybe Harbaugh is strictly analytics and maybe he's disguising it because I'm not a Ravens fan, so I'm not like deep diving into every word that he says. But the vibe that I get from Jim Harbaugh is, I believe in my guys. We're going for it. Let's do this. And I can get behind that. I don't necessarily can't get behind going for it on 4th and 5 for my 30. Like, to me, I'm like
that's
like,
I'm amazed at how many teams do that now. That's Madden. That's video games.
Like, yo, like that game. I mean, he did that in the Steelers game and it worked out. They scored touchdowns. And I mean, like, I guess for lack of just to go back and forth about it, when it works, you look like a genius. And when you don't, you look like Harbaugh does today on a Monday. Because watching that Steelers-Chargers game, he went for it twice on 4th and 5 from like the 45. Like, that's not no man's land. That's not like you're on the Steelers 45 where like, man, I don't know if we can make this field goal, a punt. If it goes in the end zone, it's only 20 yards. Okay, let's go for it. But you're on the other side.
You're giving Patrick Mahomes 40 yards or 60 yards.
Yeah.
As opposed to 80 or
Make
85.
him at least earn it. And especially a Patrick Mahomes that isn't playing like, quote unquote, Patrick Mahomes until the fourth quarter and overtime.
How do you
and
view
everything
that,
like that.
See, I feel like the Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers effect. Patrick Mahomes won that game against the Chargers without even being, I mean, his performance won, yes, but Patrick Mahomes won that game against the Chargers because the Chargers coach scared. Oh, man, we can't take a field goal.
I don't think that's scared. I think that's the analytics because he played like that versus the Browns. He played that versus the Steelers.
Did you hear what he said in the post game, though?
Yeah, I heard him.
So when he said, he goes, I'm not going to kick field goals. You can't kick field goals against Patrick Mahomes. So I agree with that. Like, and by the way, Staley, I like his approach different than Harbaugh. Harbaugh is more of a
rah guy.
Rah, like, because he picks and chooses when he wants to be analytical. The Chargers go for it every time, no matter what, because that's what they believe in analytically. So it's two same examples with different approaches mentality-wise. But like when he said that, I'm like, so you justify the analytical approach because you can't kick field goals against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. That was the Patrick Mahomes effect. Patrick Mahomes being there won them that football game because of that. Aaron Rodgers last night, the mindset of, well, I trust my guys to go for it, but like I have a hard time believing, like if you had all those, if the Ravens defense was completely healthy, I don't think they go for it right there.
That's fair.
But that's the difference between Staley and Harbaugh, is that was more emotionally driven. But like I said, I'm just not a fan of teams who have a division lead doing that and then knowing that the outcome could be we lose the division lead. I would just have more time to work with and to put all that pressure in that moment. But bottom line is it helps me. I don't know why I'm so fired up about it. But I guess I'm just worried about it because I'm seeing it creep in. And if the Browns lost last night's game like that, I would have been furious. Being too aggressive, I'd have been furious. I would rather lose a game being a little protective trying to, be smart, then sometimes being aggressive can cost you. The Bengals that's why I defended Zach Taylor last week. I don't even like Zach Taylor. That was smart what he did. That was smart. Not letting Joe Burrow throw the ball in that territory in overtime when he has cost them 4 games in crunch time with interceptions. That was smart. That was not him being conservative or afraid. That was him being smart, and they got points out of it. Their defense just let them down, and there was no sign that the defense would let them down. The defense for the Bengals has been great. Okay, the Bengals defense has actually been very impressive this year, and that's honestly, everyone, when they win, it's because of Joe Burrow's 150-plus yards last night won them that game. Hell no. That defense holding them to 10 points, that's what won them the game. The defense has been winning the Bengals games since the beginning of the season. Bottom line, the offense has done more harm than good this season, although they have taken major strides. I will give them that, yes. But
I got to give a shout-out to Khalil Kareem. What a play. Mm-hmm. What a play. Like, he deboed him for the ball. Deboed it, snatched it out of his hands, and tried to take it to the house, too. That was an outstanding play, man. And that's what I like to celebrate. I like to celebrate, especially, this is such an offensive league. And if you breathe on a receiver going across the middle, if you breathe on a quarterback, it's a 15-yard penalty. But some of the plays that were made on the defensive side of the ball yesterday, from Kareem, from forcing that fumble inside the 5-yard line, not even fumble, just taking it away from him, from Joe Hayden with a diving fumble recovery or interception, whatever you want to call it, to that great tackle he had. Like, it's a lot of good defensive guys in this league making defensive plays without getting any penalties. And I think that type of stuff definitely needs to be celebrated. I talked about it earlier in the show about the stick that Joe Hayden had on that 4th down. Like, I'm sure that every coach in the Miami Valley that saw that, even if they are Bengals fans or Browns fans or hate the Steelers, they saw that and they sent that to their players. Like, that is how you tackle somebody. You tackle him, you tackle the ball, you stop their momentum. And like they said, man, it's a game of inches, and it literally came down to an inch, and Joe Hayden made that play. And that Kareem play from the Bengals, man, like, dude is running like a speed option or something like that, and he doesn't try to tackle him. He just takes the ball. Like, I don't think I've seen anything like that since probably.
Ran right past. I mean, it was almost like he even had the running back stance and everything. Like, put it in the breadbasket, man. Like, let's go. Like, that was impressive. Holy moly. All right. We're going to test these phones out during this next little break in the action, but we are live on Facebook and live on YouTube. So interesting here. So real quick, Bobby Sparks Kev says Bengals won. I'm going to keep my cool today. That's going to be I'm preparing. My New Year's resolution is to make it as far into 22 without a blow up, whether that be at Kevin, whether that be at you guys. So I haven't figured out how I'm going to approach this. I'm either going to be calm with you guys to prepare for 22, or I'm going to unleash on all of you and just get it all out of my system before 22. I don't know. You guys are going to dictate that, though. But so Bobby Sparks says the Bengals won, get over it. Wins and losses. Cleveland won't say that after tonight, and even pushed it back for them. Denver's defense is good. Newsflash. Couple things, because I'm working on me. New year coming up, new me. Yes, I'm one of those annoying people. Every year I try this new year, new me. However, I am going to brag here. I said last year, heading into the new year, I'm going to lose weight. I lost 43 pounds this year. New year, new me. So I was about being, I'm going to be a jerk in 2021, but I'm going to be a skinnier jerk. Next year in 2022, I'm already skinnier. So I'm going to try and get a little skinnier, but I'm going to try and be less jerky. Okay. Because I got to work on that. So this is how an adult should respond to this troll, Bobby. Okay. Bengals won, get over it. Wins and losses. Cleveland won't say that after tonight, and even pushed it back for them. Denver, first of all, let me answer this calmly. Got to work on me. New year, almost year, new me. Bengals won, get over it. I don't need to get over anything. There's nothing to get over. Kevin can back me up here. Kevin last year was just looking at me like I lost my mind because I was upset after some Browns wins because it wasn't pretty enough for me. I don't like wins. I don't look at wins and losses as just wins and losses. Sometimes I look at a win and say, yeah, you may feel good about that win at Denver yesterday, as you should. Any road win's a good win, but man, there's a lot to be concerned about moving forward. That Bengals offense, I'm not looking at yesterday's game. I mean, yes, the win is good, but doesn't mean that you can't be concerned about some of the takeaways from that game. There was nothing positive to take away from that offense. The receiver you took number 5 overall, that's supposed to be your number 1. All right. Finally had a good game last week. All right. But then I mean, they barely even got him the ball. I think one catch, Kev, or for 3 yards. You drafted a wide receiver at number 5 overall to get 3 yards. Folks, like, that's concerning to me. You have the most weapons of any offense in the AFC North right now, and you're playing about as poor as everyone else in the AFC North. But as I said, the difference is the Steelers' offense just straight up isn't that good. Okay. The Ravens offense is not consistent or healthy, so we can't really gauge who the heck they are. The Browns, the last time they had 95% or more of their starters on offense out on the field was all the way back in week 1 against the Chiefs. And that was a game that they actually put 30 points up on the board. Baker threw for over 300 yards and multiple touchdowns. The run game was solid. So we know what the Browns offense is capable of when everyone's healthy and clicking. I know that that's not realistic to expect in the NFL. You're going to be banged up, but that's the reality of it. The Bengals, Kev, are the only one that has all the weapons. You have a run game. You have 3 really, really good wide receivers. You have a really, really good quarterback. And I don't want to hear about the offensive line, folks. I had this sent in to me during the break. And by the way, Pro Football Focus has the Bengals O-line, ranked 22nd in the league. Not great. It's almost as if I, was right when I said, hey guys, you maybe should focus on improving that offensive line this past offseason. You guys were fine with the kicker and the receiver. The kicker has actually done very, very well this year. The kicker has been more impressive than Jamar Chase, but you guys are still living off the first 6 weeks of the season and forgetting that there has been more bad games from Jamar Chase than good. But man, how good those first couple games were. But 22nd is the offensive line ranked according to Pro Football Focus. But teams with worse offensive lines include the Dolphins, worst in the league. The Dolphins have won 6 straight. They're playing fine. They don't have the weapons that Joe Burrow does. Tua is not as good as Joe Burrow, but Tua's fine. Tua was second-year player. Tua's missed games because of injuries. So spare me the boo-hoo crybaby excuses of our offensive line's no good. Oh, yeah. I've already failed. I failed. Doesn't matter. Teams with worse O-lines include the Dolphins. The Steelers' O-line's no good, and look what they're doing. They have less to work with than the Bengals do. So, again, stop with the excuses. All right? How about the Raiders? All right? I mean, come on. All teams with better-looking total offenses than the Bengals yesterday, they're the worst. They have the worst excuses of all. They have no excuse. That's the thing. Be critical. It's okay to be critical. So yes, I don't need to get over the win, Bobby. There's nothing for me to get over. It was a fun game. I enjoyed it. That was entertaining yesterday. I mean, the fact that you had Drew Lock marching deep into Bengal territory, I thought they were about to take the lead. And then you just talked about, and then the Bengals forced the turnover, then they turned it over themselves, but it was a good play because it ultimately it got the Broncos out of the red zone. And then they just fell apart from there. That play, the defensive stop right there, that won the game. Because the Broncos never got back into that rhythm offensively. They were marching down the field at will with Drew Lock to start. That kind of took him out of the game mentally. And as far as Cleveland won't say that after tonight, I don't know what to expect. They're decimated because of COVID. And don't tell me that I'm making excuses. It's just the reality of it. I mean, I think that if the roles are reversed and all the guys are, if you're telling me that Riley Reif being out and Jackson Carman not playing well is why your offense isn't clicking, you could justify that, but you can't look at the Browns situation tonight and say, oh yeah, that's probably why they're going to lose. You're going to sit there and then pull this, they're no good. The Browns are the Browns last place team. I mean, man, you realize you're like the Bearcats. You know how much had to go right for you to be in this position?
Bearcats taking shots.
Lamar Jackson and all the whole run game has to be out. Harbaugh has to make a boneheaded decision at the end of regulation to put the Bengals in first place. Yeah, I mean, you go down. The Steelers have to be one of the worst Steelers teams in decades for you to have a shot. The Browns have had to be decimated by injuries, and it took the global pandemic to keep the Browns away from you. I mean, you better capitalize on this opportunity. I mean, there's no excuse. You want to come at my team, I'm going to come at your team calmly, not screaming, just talking a little bit louder, but I'm going to calm it down and bring it down. Matt Sturgeon says, Justin, how many games did you predict the Bengals would win this year? I've said on multiple occasions, this Bengals team is way better than I anticipated them being. I did not expect them to be this good. I think that outside circumstances have helped. I also still think that they have gotten significantly worse as the season has gone on. You start out 5-2, and you've lost 3 of your last 6-7 games since then. I mean, I don't. It's not like they've been consistent, but nobody has in that division. So that's the thing. But I didn't think they were going to be much improved from last year. They are dramatically improved from last year, no doubt. Joe Burrow, I like Joe Burrow. but I don't think he's as good as what everyone says. We've been through that. I know this show's on repeat, but I'm answering questions, so I'm not going to change my answers just to appease you. Doug Toby, Kev, says, selective memory. Maybe you forgot Cleveland scored 17 at home against Denver. They are ranked number 2 secondary in the NFL. Doug Toby, I don't have selective memory. I think you have selective memory. Because if you can go back and recall, that was Case Keenum, a makeshift offensive line. Half the defense was out with injuries in COVID at that time. No, I remember that game vividly. That was the game that they kept Baker Mayfield out just because there was no point in playing him because he was injured. And they just said, you know what? Let's just give Case Keenum. That's why you have him. Go win this Thursday night football game. So, yes, you put up less points than the backup offense for the Cleveland Browns did against that secondary. So please spare me. He threw for more yards. He threw for a touchdown too. Like what do you? So is he Case Keenum? So you backed into that. I wasn't going to go there, but you forced my hand. It is what it is. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, Cincinnati's still very, very good. I still think, Kev, if I had the rosters right now as constructed, Cincinnati has the best shot to win this division. Hands down.
Yes.
They have the most dynamic playmakers. They have arguably the best quarterback in the AFC North right now. And at the end of the day, that defense, as much I love Cleveland's defense. I'm not trading Cleveland's defense by any means, but if I had to pick a defense other than Cleveland's, and I love the pass rush with TJ Watt and the Steelers, and I love Fitzpatrick, I like Cincinnati's. I think that they have better energy. I think that they get to the quarterback. I love Hendrickson. I was dead wrong on him. I did not think Awuzie was going to be that solid because I watched him in Dallas, wasn't great, but you know what? He's done well. The addition of Hilton was huge. Bates is obviously Bates. I mean, I like Bates, and Eli Apple. I got to piggyback.
I got to piggyback.
That's totally fine. I'm hogging the mic. My bad.
I got to piggyback on that. Eli Apple had a hell of a game yesterday. He balled out yesterday.
He broke out that pass perfectly.
Oh my goodness,
that was a textbook.
Urban Meyer was probably real happy.
Hey, dip blank, break up the damn pass, would you?
You got it, coach. That all seriousness, like I know I bang on Eli Apple. I've been not a big fan of Eli Apple, even back at Ohio State. I thought he was very overrated, but no doubt about it. He balled out yesterday, and he's been playing pretty good football the last couple of weeks for the Cincinnati Bengals. The style of defense that they play, they do put their corners on islands a ton, and to be out there solo with receivers like Sutton and everything like that, and to hold your own, you got to tip your cap to him. So salute to Eli Apple. Played a pretty good game yesterday.
All right, 5-1. Oh, no, we've got to get these. Did figure out?
We could try.
We could try. Do you know who this is?
I don't.
Let's try it. Caller, who's this? Yeah,
they're not working.
We'll try to fix it. Look, they're probably just calling in to yell at me anyway, so it's probably a good thing. I'm afraid of you, but it is what it is. But no, at the end of the day, so Bengals said you got to stop taking everything I say and just labeling as a Matt Sturgeon. Matt and I have been back and forth going back, whether it's Dayton Flyers basketball or Bengals football. He got so emotional and in his feelings of the day. I just don't know how much more I can take, folks. I say what's going on the field, and you can't convince me that an average football team is great. Okay? I'm not trying to convince you that the Browns are great. So why are you trying to convince me that a team that had the same record coming into this week is great as well? You're not going to win that. And there's really nothing to win or lose. It's just called being self-aware of who your team is, which is hard to do. But I just got done telling Kev, you all heard it. If I had to pick a defense, if I had to pick a team in the AFC North, and I had to put money on the team, I'm not putting money on my Browns. I would put money on the Bengals because they should. If Joe Burrow is who you say he is, they should. If Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon, if these cats are as good as you say they should. If the defense that you put $200 million into, if they're as good as you think they are, they should. There's no excuse. Yes, they have some key guys out, but you want the Steelers to feel bad for your injuries? Because they're not going to. Because I'll take the Bengals even with injuries over the Steelers right now, and the Steelers can't count them out. You think that, you have a couple guys out here and there, you think that is equal to what the Ravens have had out since the beginning of the season? No. So spare me that. And then the Browns. Are you kidding me? You're going to try and play the injury card with O'Kinner here. You want me to feel? No. Because your team's been the healthiest in the league from the very beginning. The healthiest. You should have had this division wrapped up by now. The fact that we're heading into the final 3 weeks and you're swimming in the murky water with the other average teams, that tells me one thing, that you're average 2. But I would put my money on the Bengals over any other team. I don't trust the Ravens, who just lost 3 straight. I don't trust the Browns, who haven't won back-to-back since being 3-1 to start the season. That even when they have had multiple pieces back, the offense still has not been able to click. Jarvis Landry is their only weapon that outside of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt that is respectable in that offense. But Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt cannot be the best of themselves when you have no one to pass to. And the pass game can't be as good as they are. Baker can't be as good as what he could potentially be without weapons to throw to. Baker Mayfield doesn't have a Tyler Boyd, a T. Higgins, or Jamar Chase. Jarvis is really good. I think Jarvis and Boyd they kind of cancel one another out. I think Chase is going to be really good big picture. I think that you're seeing great games, bad games. That's the rookie effect, right? But at the same time, like Justin Jefferson didn't have those up and down games. Remember, Kev, at the beginning, I said I will judge Jamar Chase off of Justin Jefferson, because Justin Jefferson was a freaking star from week 1 on. And Jamar Chase was a star from weeks 1 through 6, and then took a month off, had a big game last week, and then reverted back to what he was before. So that's not an opinion, folks. That's what's happened. You guys, like Kev, that's why I get annoyed. I'm not making this up. These aren't my opinions. It's literally what's happening on the field, and yet they're getting mad at me. Bringing up the results of the Denver game, saying, well, the Browns struggled against the Broncos. You mean the Browns' second string? Yes, they did.
Well, I'll say this. This is the NFL. This isn't college. So you winning the game by 50 or you winning the game by a point, it really don't matter. You're getting a loss or a win, and they all add up to the exact same thing, and they want to get you exactly where you want to be. So they're a step closer to where they want to be. That's in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. For the Cincinnati Bengals fans, I'm sure they would, if the phone lines were working, someone like Charlie would call in. It would say something along these lines, that I would rather get an ugly win than a pretty loss. And the Bengals have had their fair share of pretty losses this year and pretty wins. Like, they blew out the Steelers twice. They blew out the Ravens and everything like that. And an ugly victory is just that. It's a victory. And I
Can I piggyback off that and then finish your point? It'll be a quick point, and then you get back to yours, because I know I hog. When you said that, I get what you're saying, and I get the mindset of that. But when the Bengals lost to the Packers in overtime, the Bengals scared me after that game. I'm like, damn, they lost in overtime, but they're right there with the Packers. That scared me. They beat the Broncos yesterday. Not hating it. They beat the Broncos yesterday. That didn't scare me. I'm like, oh, that's what we're dealing with moving, but we're fine. That's not a shot. That's just the reality of it. And I think that a lot of fans out there can relate to that. The Browns losing close or winning close games that they have, like against the Ravens, the Browns didn't put anybody on notice with that Ravens win 2 weeks ago or last week or whatever. That didn't put, oh man, Cleveland, they're starting to come around. No, they're not. They won, but it was a battle of 2 teams trying to give it away. But the Browns, when they beat the Bengals, when the Browns lost to the Chiefs in week 1, everyone was like, see, Baker threw for 300 plus yards, multiple touchdowns. Nick Chubb was great. Jarvis, OBJ. Oh man, like the Browns scared more people after that Chiefs loss than they did after half these wins. When they didn't put the league on, when they beat the Lions, I thought both teams deserved a loss that day. That was horrible. So I know what you're saying, but I think the reason that I think that people look at the game within the game,
don't want to have that momentum. Yeah.
The only thing I will say is that Bengals defense, man, they swarmed to the ball. They like how the Browns picked them apart. I don't know. Everyone's gonna have an off game. I think the Browns benefited from the setting the tone like that. I don't anticipate a Browns blowout here in a couple weeks. I still think the Browns will beat the Bengals, but especially because it's a home game, I don't think that they will blow them out. But at the same time, it's one of those where I'm not as confident in this game as I was before, even though they are at home, because I think the Bengals defense has gotten better. As the offense has gotten worse, I think their defense has gotten better. But if that defense for the Bengals and the Bengals offense can even up, I think the Bengals are one of the scarier teams in the AFC, because I'm looking at the teams at the top of the AFC, Kev. I'm sorry. Shut up, Kinner. Go back to you. I'll get back to that. But remind me, I want to look at the top teams in the AFC. I think that the Bengals are as good as those teams if that offense can slightly improve. But go back to your original.
If watching this week in the NFL taught anybody anything, no matter what your record is, no matter who your quarterback is, this league is so close. Literally anybody can beat anybody. Mm-hmm. We just saw the greatest quarterback of all time put up a goose egg. Yes, I know Fournette got hurt. Yes, I know Godwin got hurt. Yes, I know Mike Evans got hurt. But you know who else was out there? His Hall of Fame tight end was out there. And he put up a goose egg in an era where it is set up for the offense to score. And that's why I always talk about like this whole quarterback wins thing. Technically, Taysom Hill just beat Tom Brady. Did Taysom Hill beat Tom Brady, or did the Saints defense beat Tom Brady? You know what I'm saying? So in this league, it's tighter than we think. It is so close. The Lions just beat the Cardinals. Like, so when you get these wins, it's hard to get them. So get them when you can. And if it takes a miracle play from Joe Burrow to Tyler Boyd breaking a tackle and taking it the rest of the way to get the dub, or outstanding defensive play at the goal line with their backup quarterback on the road, you better take them, because at the end of the day, when all 16 and 17 weeks are gone and we do the calculations, it's going to be who gets the most wins that's going to get into the playoffs. And that win right there could be potentially the win that pushes the Cincinnati Bengals as a division winner and makes it to the playoffs, because only the division winner from the AFC North is going to the playoffs. It ain't happening.
It's not a good division. These are good teams. Now, I will say real quick, to be fair, Doug Toby, you bring up a good point. This is a really weird year in the NFL. Let's put a number of how many great teams there are. There's not a lot of great teams every year anyways.
Right.
But I think there's less great teams in the NFL this year than normal. Kansas City is great with flaws.
Every team got flaws.
But I think more flaws than usual. Patriots finally showed to be a little, we do have a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, it was a rookie game for sure.
I need to see, for me, the Patriots, I need to see how they respond after that game, because I think that's how you learn about rookie QBs. Like, okay,
he responded in that game.
So, and he threw, and that was the first time we got to see him throw the ball for, they took the handcuffs off him and said, yeah, you got to learn how to win games like this. And he did. Yeah, I thought he looked solid, but how do they respond next week? We'll find out. The Titans, I was a believer in them with Derrick Henry. Now, to be fair, they lost to the Steelers, and I don't think they had anything to do with not having Derrick Henry. They rushed the ball for 200 freaking yards.
Yes.
When people are like, "Oh man, they beat the Steelers if they have Derrick Henry," I'm like, I don't know. They would have put up the same amount of rushing yards with Derrick Henry yesterday and still probably lost that game. This is the Tannehill debate, which I've been saying. Baker Mayfield and Tannehill, they're either the same quarterback or Baker's better. I'll still take Baker over Tannehill any day, but I think they're similar quarterbacks with the same responsibilities. Let Nick Chubb in the run game win you games. Let Derrick Henry in the run game win you games. And when the Titans need Tannehill, kind of gets ugly. When the Browns need Baker, it gets ugly. I think they're the same.
That fumble, the fumble snap, like you don't see that in the NFL. A fumble snap. Maybe you see it from the shotgun or something like that. But you don't rarely see a fumble snap under center in the NFL. So I was watching First Take, and who was on there? I think it was Orlovsky was on there, talking about the Titans gave it away to the Steelers. I think the Steelers made a ton of plays, but yeah, there's no doubt about it. You drop a snap, that's 100% on you. That has nothing to do with any TJ Watt coming off the edge, no Minka Fitzpatrick blitz or anything like that. You as a quarterback and the center just got not on the same page and you fumbled the ball. And thank goodness for my own personal team, we were able to recover and kick yet another field goal.
518. Nope. I keep throwing that number out of habit. As soon as that's updated, we'll get you fixed. We're going to step away for a few moments. A couple more responses here. Bobby Sparks says, so if the Bengals offense looked good and they lost, you would have felt better? Come on, man. Folks, it's all about, look at these records. I'm not bearing a team on a loss. I'm bearing a team on a performance. Like the Ravens lost yesterday, but they put 30 points up on the board with all these backups against the Packers. They lost, but they got to feel pretty good about themselves moving forward. That's why I said you got to be upset with the coaching decision there late. But overall, no one expected them to put 30 up. I thought they were going to get decimated. I thought Aaron Rodgers was just going to torch them. It didn't happen. He had a good offensive game like he always does, but the Ravens weren't intimidated, and they just went right back at him. So, yes, if the Bengals offense looked good yesterday, and again, if they would have lost, I don't know how it would have felt after, but the Bengals are an offensive team. They're winning because of their defense, but that defense isn't elite by any means. Let's be clear. That defense is winning you games, and they shouldn't be winning you games. They should be part of the reason you're winning. But you have Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow. What is so hard about that for you to understand? You guys are getting mad at me, and I'm literally telling you that your team is solid. I'm literally agreeing with you about all of the great pieces you have on your offense, and you're still mad at me because I'm holding them accountable, saying, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow, you put up 15 points? I don't care if that's the number 2 secondary in football. Case Keenum put up 17 points against the number 2 secondary in football. Joe Burrow, he can't put up 17 points? I'm just saying. They won. Super. More so because the defense. It's as simple as that. You hold a team to 10 points, you won because your defense, when your offense only put up 15. Like, that's still a bad day at the office, 15 points. But a win is a win, and it gives you another 7 days to prepare for your next big game, and they have the Ravens coming up. They're a favorite. Cincinnati's a favorite. They do better when they're underdogs, so I'm curious what that being the favorite thing has to do with anything right now. That line might shift. If they get Lamar back, I think that might go back. But this is fun. Bengals fans, I'm asking you to do me a favor. I don't deserve the benefit of the doubt from you guys. I think we're at the point now where we're all saying the same thing to a certain extent. I am agreeing with you that I think your team's really good. But when you become really good, you open the door to more criticism because you're going to be held to a higher standard. That was the Browns 3 years ago. When they started winning, it was cute, it was adorable, it was fun. But then when they started winning, the expectations were higher, and now winning's not good enough anymore. It's not that you win, it's how you win, and we need to have an identity for you. Someone put in there, I think it was Shaw. Shaw, what up, Shaw? He changed his profile picture so I can start talking to him again. It's no longer Michigan in there. But he said, the Bengals don't have an offensive identity, or they don't have an identity. And I'm like, I agree with you. You should have an identity by this point. We know
y'all getting along.
I mean, getting along, but I'm just acknowledging, his point. Who are the Bengals? Let me ask you, who are the Bengals? If your team's playing the Bengals this week, oh crap, we're playing the Bengals. I'm worried of what? With the Browns, it's, oh man, we got the Browns this week. I know that their offense isn't great, but crap, they got Nick Chubb. What are you saying about the Bengals offense? Like, what? I don't know. I know that they're capable of, but I don't know who they are. Bengals fans, can you agree with me on that? Kev, what are you saying in that scenario?
Play action, deep shots.
Once a game.
All game.
That's all they needed though yesterday, to be honest.
That's what they do. That's like if I'm looking at them on the offensive side of the ball, it's play action, deep shots. It's to be perfectly honest, it's almost old school because they run the ball well enough to play action. They have definitely 2 very good wide receivers, and then if you say Boyd, like that's a heck of a trio you got right there. So you have explosive playmakers on the outside, and the problem with the team is the way it's constructed and the way they want to play offense. The offensive line can't protect long enough for certain teams to take those deep shots, to get those one-on-ones, because obviously with the explosiveness of Chase, you got to roll the safety over there. So that always leaves somebody one-on-one. So what they want to do is take deep shots. But the problem was watching the game yesterday, the one time that they were able to protect them long enough to take that deep shot, they hit it and scored a touchdown. But the Broncos with Bates and with Surtain the second out there, they have one of the best secondaries in there. They don't have to roll coverages with Surtain the second out there. Like, he can just say, I'm going to follow you. It's almost like having Jalen Ramsey out there. Like, safety, you can just roam the middle of the field because I don't need no help. So when you have guys like that, and Darby, who's a pretty good corner as well, you can do a lot of different things. So for them to get that win, I was hate watching because I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But they were able to get the win on that big play. And I'm not sure that big plays can happen in the playoffs like that, but I think they can make the playoffs. I think they can.
I think they can win this. I think the Bengals can win this division.
If they win 2 of the next 3, I think they're going to be division champs.
The Browns lose tonight. It pains me to say this, but the Bengals are the only team. I don't fear the Ravens. And it helps that the Browns have the Ravens in the rearview mirror now. I don't fear the Ravens. I don't fear the Steelers, but look out. Folks, we're at the point now where they, honest to freaking Lord, can win this division, and it will be kind of funny and typical. In a year where it's been nothing but Browns and Bengals fans yelling at one another, to look up at when it's all said and done and to see the Steelers at the top again, it would be like, really? We about killed each other all year just to still end up with the same typical result. This is the best that the Browns and Bengals have ever been together at the same time in decades, and the more things change, the more they stay the same. That's what's ironic about all of this. But no, the Bengals, I am admitting to you, you're still getting mad at me because you're trying to accuse me of backhanded compliments when you are you're just a few games above 500. You are not a perfect football team. You have flaws, but you want me to talk about you like you're the Packers. No, you're not. You're not even the Chiefs. You are not an elite football team, but I do believe you are closer to being an elite football team than most. You are closer to being elite than the Ravens and the Steelers. I think that the Browns, when healthy, are close, pretty solid as well. But that's why I'm frustrated. So someone got mad when I asked you, who they are, what's their identity. He said, we got Burrow. And I said, well, that's fine. I don't know
that's
what that
a player.
means.
That's not an identity.
What you can't do is tell me that, and Kev, you just said it. Well, the offensive line's why the offense isn't able to explode. Well, Joe Burrow is 7th in the NFL with 3,600 passing yards. He's 8th in the NFL with 26 touchdowns. Okay? Like, he's putting up numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you doing with that 3,600 passing yards? What are you doing with that? It's not putting points up on the board. It's not winning you a lot of games. So I don't know what you expect me to say here. You put 15 points up on the board yesterday and bragging about all the numbers of Joe Burrow, all while using the excuse of, well, we're not elite because of the offensive line. Your quarterback's numbers are elite. What do you want me to say to that? You can't, but they're not elite because it's not resulting in to dominant wins. And yes, that matters. 8-6, super. The Browns might be 8-6 tonight. They have Baker Mayfield. What does that mean? So you have a better defense than the Browns. You have a better offense than the Browns. And yet the Browns could be division leaders coming up here in about 2.5 hours. I don't know what you want me to say. And here's the numbers. The last 5 games, they're 3-2 in their last 5. I've painted this picture as them being pretty bad, but in the last 5, they're 3-2. That's solid. You want to be above 500 at this point of the season. They are. So in the 3 wins, Kev, Joe Burrow has thrown for 157 yards and 1 touchdown. He threw for 190 yards and 1 touchdown. And he threw for 148 yards and 1 touchdown. Less of Joe Burrow means wins. When he threw for 348 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Niners, they lost. When he threw for 300 yards and a touchdown against the Chargers, they lost. So I don't know what to make of that, Kev. It's weird. Like, you would think when Joe Burrow has these big breakout games, they're undefeated when he throws for under 200 yards this year. They're 4-0. That's the weirdest thing in the world to me. But that also speaks to the depth of the team.
That's what I was about to say.
They can win games without it being on Joe Burrow. And what that also tells me is that Joe Burrow cannot physically go win you games. And that's okay to admit, but you got to stop taking it personal. There's only a few quarterbacks that can go will you to games. One of them's in your league, and Lamar Jackson, who has taken less talented teams and willed them to victory. Can't do it every week, but we know Lamar. How many close games have the Ravens won because he willed them to those wins? Okay, we see it all the time. Patrick Mahomes does it. Even when he's not playing well, he leads his team to wins. Like, that's the thing. Like, so when Joe Burrow has to be the guy, the Bengals don't win football games. They don't beat the Niners when they have to rely on Joe Burrow to be the guy. Now, maybe, Kev, I'm spinning that in an evil way. Maybe it's on me. Like, I think I can go to the NBA and find a guy averaging 30 a game and the team not having a good record, but when he has less points, I do realize I am kind of molding the narrative, but to be a fair host here, I will admit, devil's advocate, Joe Burrow threw for 157 yards yesterday and they won. But it's because they had a balanced attack of the defense of the run game and the pass game. He didn't need to throw that much, right?
Right.
That's how you would counter.
Yes.
And I can get on board with that. With the Steelers, he only threw the ball 24 times. He only threw 190 yards. But look at the run game. Look at the defense. Joe Burrow didn't need to be anyone than he had to be. So,
and those are blowouts.
And they're blowouts.
They beat the Steelers in the first half, basically both games. So you're not going to be sitting back there like, all right, man, let's pad our stats to win the Heisman or nothing like that. It's like, all right, let's run the ball. Our defense is playing good football. Keep the clock moving. Let's get out of Dodge.
So, but my point is this too, though. The difference is when the run game for Baltimore isn't playing well, when the defense for Baltimore is not playing well, Lamar is willing his team to wins. When the Chiefs have a bad defense and when the Chiefs O-line is bad and their run game is not there, Patrick Mahomes is still willing his team to wins. Aaron Rodgers does it. Tom Brady, I know last night he gets shut out, bad example, but it's Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying. To be fair, though, I'm not going to hold Joe Burrow to an elite status because he's not elite. but there's only, Kev, less than a handful of elite quarterbacks. I think elite is tough to achieve. And I don't even think Lamar is. I think Lamar is fringe elite. Lamar still has too many flaws for me to put him in that guaranteed elite status, but my goodness, when his team needs him to put him on his back, he wills them to victory. Joe Burrow doesn't will anyone to victory. Joe Burrow is a part of why they win, but Joe Burrow is not willing you to victory. That's all. And I think you guys need to admit that, to be fair here. I think you guys need to understand that. I'm not attacking him. When you guys put me in these positions where I have to combat you with your homer takes because you are painting this picture of Joe Burrow being elite, and he's not elite. He's better than Baker Mayfield. You finally got that out of me. I'm evolving too as a host. I'm evolving as he evolves. But let's be fair here. We've all admitted being better than Baker Mayfield, that's like saying you're taller than Justin Kinner. That doesn't mean you're good, and it doesn't make you tall. Being taller than Kinner doesn't make you tall. Being better than Baker Mayfield doesn't make you elite. There's that. That's a good way to step away for a few moments. Browns, baby, they kick off in a half hour. They could be AFC North division leaders here. Coming up here in a few hours. Go Browns. We'll be back in a moment.
Merry Christmas. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM.
Germain Honda, Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. For a limited time, get 0% financing on the 21 Passport, the 22 Pilot, and HRV, or 1.9% for 48 months on the 22 Odyssey. Lease a 22 HRV Sport for as little as $229 a month, or a CRV Hybrid EX for as little as $279 a month. See me, Sales Manager Jason High, for all the details. We are located on Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda, Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I hope to see you soon.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street are huge supporters of the Dayton Flyers. Whether you're one of the 13,000 fans cheering on the Flyers at UD Arena or one of the hundreds of fans packed inside Tim's on game day, there is only two places that you can feel the passion of the Flyer faithful more than anywhere else. Timothy's Bar and Grill is also a sponsor of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash in the afternoons and the Talking Out Loud Hour on Thursday nights with Sully. Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Go Flyers.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
This holiday season, give the gift of Craftsman tools at Lowe's. With a heritage of performance and reliability, Craftsman is the perfect gift for the project people on your list. There's something for every builder, fixer, and creator you know. Choose from power tools, outdoor power equipment, mechanics tools, tool storage, and more. Shop in-store, online, or through our app, because there are more ways to holiday at Lowe's. And a gift from Lowe's is a gift that leads to more. U.S. only.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Winter is here, and Rob's Beer Barn is stocked with seasonal refreshments and holiday beers, and they're going fast, just in time for your favorite sporting events. Rob's Beer Barn also has you covered for your holiday plans. At Rob's, you'll find all the ice-cold refreshments you'll need: craft, imported, local, and seasonal beers, fine wine, snacks, and ice. Plus, Rob's Beer Barn has apparel. For last-minute items, you can call, walk in, or drive through. Stock up today. Rob's Beer Barn on Indian Ribble Road at Darst, just a mile east of the green. Rob's Beer Barn, just look for the beaver.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Don't miss the only weekly hour of radio dedicated to Dayton Flyers basketball. It's Talking Out Loud, hosted by Sully. Thursday nights at 6 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, and online at wingam.com. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be clear and sunny, a high near 42. Tonight's going to be mainly clear and cold, a low around 28. And tomorrow will be clear and sunny, a high near 46. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Propane, keeping utilities simple and families warm since 1952. See how and more at culletpropane.com.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
D-Max, home of the Duramax diesel engine, is now hiring in Moraine and Brookville. To learn more about D-Max and all current openings, go to dmaxengines.com. That's dmaxengines.com. D-Max, your engine for success.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Service Manager at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, recipient of Honda's President's Award. When your vehicle needs service, we make it convenient. Open 6 days a week, including all day Saturday. We also welcome same-day appointments and walk-ins as well. Our technicians are factory trained, and we offer a new state-of-the-art facility, clean waiting rooms, loaner cars, and free alignment checks as well. Ask for the $99.95 alignment special. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, Route 35, just east of 675, between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Want to hear how I almost got off the naughty list this year? I helped Santa save gazillions by having him download Capital One Shopping to his computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. You can download it too and save a bundle. You don't even need a Capital One card, and it's free. So why didn't I get off the naughty list? Turns out Santa's a stickler for naughty words. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet Jet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
Oaks hunting season's here. Take the shot when seconds count. Homestead Feed and Supply stocks American-made crystal clear rifle lens scope covers by shootthrough.com. No need to flip these covers up. Just shoot through and take the shot. Available at Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North Dayton Lakeview Road. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
We can't go to Skyline without sitting at the counter.
Skyline gets out their food so fast that it's so interesting on how they do that.
Yeah, we usually don't finish with our crackers before the food comes out.
And it's so good. I just love Skyline very much.
Does your child play video games with loot boxes or in-game rewards? If so, it's important to know when video games can turn into gambling. Learn the signs at changethegameohio.org. Teens are experiencing gambling in more ways due to increasing gaming features that mimic gambling, such as loot boxes, gaming skins, and virtual currency. Help prevent youth gambling at changethegameohio.org. This message is brought to you by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
This is CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger. Do you want to be a hero for the holidays? How about getting your loved one a new iPhone? That's right. Pure Talk has iPhone 12 starting at just $479 through the end of the year. And sure, they have 13s too. Switch to Pure Talk. Great nationwide 5G coverage. Yes, the same coverage as the big guys, but the average family saves over $800 a year. Now that's just smart. There's no need to overpay for Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. deal. Plus, with Pure Talk's 30-day risk-free guarantee, you've got nothing to lose. Unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data is just $30 a month. And like I said, the iPhone 12, just $479. From your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say Jill 50, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Plus, save on a new phone. That's pound 250, say Jill 50. Pure Talk is simply smarter wireless. Some restrictions apply. See site for details.
Hurry into Mattress Firm's year-end sale. Get up to 50% off select mattresses from Sealy, Serta, Sleepy's, and more. In stock for fast delivery.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
So every time someone coughs, Kev, I always obnoxiously scream Rona. I know it's insensitive a bit in the time we live in, but it just reminds me of like every time, back when you had people in the building, if anyone would like crumble up a piece of paper and throw it in the trash can, I'd yell, Kobe. So is Rona the new Kobe?
Probably.
Rona.
Roneasy.
No, Rona, holy moly. Just when you thought everything was getting back to whatever normal was or is, it actually is back to normal. It's back to 2020 normal, and I hope it doesn't get back to 2020 normal, but the numbers sure are. And look, I don't want to bring up Rona because that always leads to,
real mature conversations.
Exactly, just like sports. Coming up next, who'd you vote for? Don't go into it. Justin Kenner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The show brought to you by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty, Tim's Bar and Grill on Brown Street, and Orion Sports Medicine. Do want to give a shout out to Chris Wright, former Dayton Flyer. I appreciate him and his team. They have me on their panel, or had me on their panel this past weekend. They call it what they like to call is the experience. It's a multi-part series about once a month for for middle schoolers up through 8th grade. They get, them and their parents for some of these more elite end athletes who are going to be embarking on the potential of, interacting with college scouts. And it's really cool what Chris Wright is doing, giving back to the community with this, is because it's a great series that they're doing that's preparing these athletes for what to expect as they go along the recruiting journey, not just for the kids, but the parents. So many times you have a situation where parents will talk to a scout for the first time and they have no clue what to ask, what to look for. They have no clue what buzzwords to keep an ear out for, and how to tell when a scout's lying, or if they, what are the right questions. This is really cool what he is doing, Chris Wright and his team. I just wanted to give them a shout out because got to be on the panel this past weekend. They had me go there for the sports side of it, just to kind of train them on giving proper answers during interviews. And it's really, these kids are getting trained on how to deal with interviews. Some of these kids look at you all nervous, like, no, I've never been interviewed before. I'm like, that's a good thing. But basically just, training them on, hey, when you're asked a question after, we put them in these various scenarios. Okay, your team lost by 20, but you had 30 points tonight. How do you feel? Let the kids answer without giving them any context, and then we dissect their answer and say, well, you see, when you say it this way, when you say that you feel good about your performance and that you're hoping to be able to repeat that, it almost makes you sound selfish and that you don't care about the result of the team. So it's basically giving them tips on how to deal with media, how to answer that, make it about the team. Say, hey, my points don't matter. If we lose, it's all about the team. So I think that's really cool. And it was really awesome of Chris to let me be up on that panel with them. But they have such a good lineup of guys up there kind of educating these kids in the Dayton area. So just want to give them a quick shout out because I thought that was pretty neat as far as I'm concerned. But 518-1410, we are right now in the midst of working on these phones to try to get this figured out. But once we do, we will keep you guys in the loop. David Shaw, you were doing well, but you changed it back to Michigan, so we're officially done. You're not coming on back onto the show until that's changed again. But go blue, right? You do you. as I'm wearing blue today. So there's that. Go ahead and answer this call, Kev. Let's see if we got this figured out, man. We really want to look. We're about 17 minutes away from kickoff, Browns and Raiders, and I'm pretty jacked about that. But meaningful games in December for the Browns and the Raiders. How about that?
Nice.
Browns and the Raiders, Browns and the Bengals.
Well, technically, the Raiders are still in it.
They will be if they win tonight. A loss tonight, it doesn't mathematically eliminate them. So people are getting mad at me. Jay Morrison covers the Bengals for the Athletic on Facebook last night. Innocent post. I just said, man, can you believe it? With how poor of a season it feels like the Browns have had, a win tonight would put them in first place in the AFC. First of all, they'd be tied and they wouldn't have the tiebreaker because the Bengals have more. That's not how it works. Believe it or not, the Browns, if they win tonight, although they would have the same record as the Ravens and Bengals, they would be the number one team in the AFC North. They would move all the way up to number 4, and the Bengals would drop down. Not a shot. That's the reality of it. I know Bengals fans get mad when you tell them factual things that they don't like to hear. They like to just call you a hater, but it is what it is. But no, the Browns, they beat they split with the Ravens, and they blew out the Bengals. Now everyone keeps thinking that, oh well, what about the Steelers? It's only the tiebreakers are only between the teams that are tied. Right. So the Browns, Ravens, and Bengals. The Browns split with the Ravens 1-1, and then blew out the Bengals. They're 2-1. The Bengals have beat the Ravens once, and they lost to the Browns already. So they wouldn't get the tiebreaker there. And then the Ravens have split with the Browns and have lost to the Bengals, so they're 1-2. So the Bengals are 1-1, the Ravens are 1-2, and the Browns are 2-1. If you could include the Steelers in there, the division wins, or the division, then the Bengals would get the first place, tie or whatever you want to call that. So
it's almost as confusing as a college football playoff.
No, it makes a ton of sense to me. Of course, the playoffs, like we said, 4 teams is always enough. If you talk to Bama fans or Ohio State fans or the teams who are normally in it, they love the 14 playoff. Am I right? But the teams, the conferences that always bitch about it only being 4 teams are usually the conferences that are never in it, like the Pac-12. Right? Like, of course, the Pac-12 wants an expanded playoff. They're not good enough to make the 14 playoff. So, of course, all right, you don't hear the SEC coming out and clamoring for more, although they might hear in the near future when they're you expand to 8 or 12 when they have 6 or 8 of the 12. I mean, that's going to, and don't act like that's not a possibility, because it is. But this is big tonight, and I'm pretty excited about that. More reaction on Facebook. Bobby Sparks says that the Browns had expectations, Bengals didn't. Stop it with that. That is crap, and you know it, Bobby, because first of all, you had expectations coming in. You expected this. You would not have told me back in July that this team was no good. You told me they were great, that they were undervalued, that they were not getting the attention that they deserved. You said that. Everybody's been saying that from Bengals country. And then when they start winning, it's, I told you they were great. And then when they lose, you do this weird little loser thing where you start doing the whole, well, no one expected them to do this. The Browns the Browns did have expectations, and injuries and COVID have prevented that from coming to full fruition. It's not that hard to understand. I have no clue. When I try playing nice, you guys don't let me. It's irritating. You guys got to do your part too. I'm not just going to let you say whatever and then me just deal with what you're saying. No, it's not going to work that way by any means. Let's go to Kev, see who we got here. I think we got these phones figured out. So I think we got them figured out, but we'll get to that in a moment. So some more that was coming through. Doug Toby says, we Bengals fans really appreciate your compliments, but you always end with the dig. That's fine. Keep them callers calling. How do I end with the dig? I don't understand that. Like, I do that with the Browns. Even when the Browns win, I'm like, yeah, they won, but it's the same thing with the Bengals. You can't look at that game yesterday and say, oh man, they proved to the world yesterday they're elite. No. Just like when the Browns beat the Lions, I'm like, well, a win's a win, but holy crap, why does it feel so defeating? It's because the Browns, they expect more out of their team than you do. You guys just expect, well, we won. That's all that matters. No, it's not all that matters, because you won yesterday, but that's not going to beat a lot of good teams down the stretch. And you have a lot of good teams. You think you're going to beat the Browns putting up 15 points on the board? You're not.
Well, let's look at that schedule. They got the Ravens, Chiefs, Browns, last 3 for the Bengals. What's their record?
I don't think they're beating Baltimore. They are lucky that they have them at home, but Cincinnati has played better football on the road. Like they look better on the road than at home for whatever reason. A lot of their and I said that coming in. You guys got so mad. I said the majority of their losses will come at home, but they have a tough home schedule. Like, you know what I mean? They had the Chiefs, they had the Packers. A lot of their tougher games were at home. I don't think they beat the Ravens. They're damn sure not beating the Chiefs. Their best shot at getting a win is Cleveland. But Baltimore's beatable too. But I'm curious if Lamar's going to play or not. They contain Lamar real well. But remember, 2 years ago, Cleveland beat up on Baltimore like Cincinnati did. And then the very next game, Lamar just torched the Browns. I see that situation occurring again. I don't see the Ravens being contained again. They've lost 3 straight. I don't see them losing 4 straight. 2 of those 3 have been with the backup quarterback. Lamar coming back. They're going to play a little bit more inspired football, especially with 3 games left. They've lost 3 straight. They get Lamar back. If they don't have Lamar, I really do like their backup. Mm-hmm. What he's doing, no one's going to take their backup quarterback over Lamar. But
where did he go to college?
Where did he go to college?
Utah.
There you go. The Utes. So Lamar, what's the backup quarterback's name?
Huntley.
Huntley?
Yep.
So Huntley,
Tyler Huntley.
He's playing really good football, by the way. And what he's doing is no one is clamoring for Huntley to replace Lamar Jackson, not by a long shot. But what he is doing is he's exploiting or bringing eyes to the fact he is showing that Lamar does need to come a long way in the pass game. Because honestly, Baltimore looks smoother offensively with Huntley at quarterback. No one will ever pressure that. But what he's done, too, is he's hurting Lamar come negotiation time. If I'm Baltimore, I'm going to be like, Lamar, we're not going to give you that money, man. We're going to give you money. We're not going to give you that Patrick Mahomes money, but we're not going to disrespect you and give you Baker Mayfield money either. We'll give you a respectable deal. But I think Huntley's hurting that because the offense looks smoother with Huntley. And that the same thing against Baltimore in the second half against Cleveland. They moved that ball up and down that field. And then I was like, okay, Cleveland just took their foot off the gas. I don't think they respected him in the second half. He moved that ball up and down the field against Green Bay. I thought he looked great, including marching them down the field with a chance to tie the game. He dove into the end zone to get that play. I like Huntley. I'm not saying he's better than Lamar, but I think he's a better passer, and that's where the argument comes in. Hey, Lamar is a freakish athlete who can make plays with his arm. We know he's the best in the league at making plays with his legs. But Huntley, to me, is exposing the Ravens' deficiencies offensively because he's showing that, hey, we don't have a lot of weapons, but if you give Huntley J.K. Dobbins and get that run game back, if you give him that balanced run game with his passing ability, I'm not going to get into that he's better than Lamar, but you almost have to wonder, is he a better fit than Lamar? Because Lamar's deficiencies, although he wins you games, those deficiencies are hard to account for on a week in, week out basis. I need to see what Huntley does moving forward. If he leads Baltimore into the playoffs somehow, some way, that'll be an interesting take, but he's lost back-to-back close games against Cleveland and Green Bay.
Yeah, for me, I was watching that game and I was amazed at the defense that Green Bay decided to run. Like, they treated Huntley like he was Ben Roethlisberger. And they rushed inside instead of playing contained defense. It's almost like they haven't watched his games against the Bears, his games against the Browns, or any of his college stuff. Like, he's an athletic dude that can scramble as well. So they played him like a traditional quarterback and left those rushing lanes for him wide open. Like, I was screaming, take off more. Like, dude, they're not playing any type of containment. Like, they're just not. And the running lanes were there for him wide open. I would definitely have to see a lot more than just 3 games, because just like a lot of quarterbacks that come in, like, they don't have a lot of NFL tape. We don't know what they can do or can't do. We don't know what they do well, what they don't do well. We've seen a ton of guys come in and make a start and make a splash. And then once, they quote unquote, they get the tape out there on them and figure out what they do and don't like, then they turn back into a pumpkin and everything like that. Not saying that Huntley's a pumpkin, but he balled out yesterday for sure, especially in that second half.
Do you see a scenario that's going to be the next big QB controversy? If Huntley goes and lead, like, I almost hope Lamar doesn't play this week, and Huntley goes on to get them a huge win against Cincinnati in Cincinnati. You're right. There won't be a QB controversy after this weekend, but like, the offense almost looks more comfortable with him out there. But it's weird because he's not better than Lamar. But it is so straight. This is going to be one of those weird dynamics coming up that I think will be a storyline. And I think that the Ravens can leak some stuff to make it a storyline, to give them leverage come this offseason with roster negotiations. I'm surprised Cleveland has not tried to take advantage of the Case Keenum opportunities more, because I always thought that if they could find a way to get Case, if they found built-in reasons to put Case Keenum out there on display, and then Case Keenum leads them to wins, and they can use the whole. Well, see, Baker, we don't really need you. The Cleveland has not done that.
I would hate for that to happen.
But
I would hate for that to happen.
I think they had a chance with Case Keenum this week, and unfortunately, he's on that COVID exempt list as well. But what were you going to say?
Man, that would be dirty business to leak some information about that.
Hey, if it saves you money,
like that, like even like for the price of saving money or keeping your locker room intact, because that type of stuff will get around the league. Like, oh man, this organization a dirty mouth you to the rest of the league just so they could save a buck. Like, I don't think that would be good for team morale. Like, if you're a baller, and if you deserve to get paid, you should get paid. Yeah, it's negotiations, but I think there's a quote unquote proper way to negotiate as opposed to leaking stuff to the media. And that's like we talked about off air. Like, that's why you have an agent. Like, you as a player shouldn't be going into these meetings. Like, and that's going to be a hot topic because Lamar does not have an agent.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a hot topic for me. Like, that's something that I think is very boneheaded of Lamar. Like, dude, they're going to say some things to you, well, to your agent that they wouldn't say to you. So you're going to create difficulty for yourself and create hard feelings for yourself. Let the agent go do their job. They take 3%. What's 3% of $75 million or whatever you're going to sign for? You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's where I'm at with it. But I did want to ask you about the next 3 games for the Ravens since we're doing these next 3 games.
Yep. Go ahead.
Ravens, Bengals.
Hold on. This is a little dry. There we go. All right. Start it over, Cal.
So the next 3 games for the Bengals, just so we got it on wax. Next 3 games for the Bengals. Ravens, Chiefs, Browns. Those next 3, what do you got it?
I'm going to say 2-1. And I have no clue who the 2 are against. Because I think they can go. They can lose these next 3 easily. But with Joe Burrow and that offense, they should win. Like they should. I should be looking at Cincinnati with the way the Browns are beat up, with the Chiefs being vulnerable, but they still keep finding ways to win, and the Ravens being what they are. Like, I think it speaks volumes about the lack of development of this Bengals offense, because if they're not getting better as the season goes on, I'm tired of hearing about how young Joe Burrow is. You should be getting better as the season goes on, and he's getting worse, as is the Bengals offense. I know Pro Football Focus has Burrow rated as the number 1. I don't care. They have Aaron Rodgers listed a couple behind him. You think anyone's going to take Joe Burrow over Aaron Rodgers because Joe Burrow's ranks number 1 in Pro Football Focus? No, they wouldn't. So I don't care about that ranking. I think they should win the next 3. But I can't pick them because that offense is not consistent enough. I can't believe the reason, Kev. I thought that if I said that the Bengals wouldn't win this division, it would be because of the defense. I'm saying they're not going to win this division because they're not good enough with that offense. They have Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, and Joe Mixon, and they do not have a chance to win these next 3 straight because of that offense. They're not good enough, and they should be. So I'm going to say 2-1 to give them the benefit of the doubt. But they can go 0-3, they can go 3-0, then go 2-1, then go 1-2. I know that sounds like a political type answer. I'm gonna say 2-1, and I think Cleveland. They have a good chance to beat Cleveland. I think they have a good chance to beat Baltimore. I don't think they'll beat Kansas City, but they'll lose to Baltimore and Cleveland, and then they'll beat Kansas City because that's how this works. But 2-1, Kev.
2-1.
So that would put him at 10-7.
10-7. I got them going 2-1 down the stretch. I got them losing to Baltimore, losing to the Chiefs, and beating the Browns.
I hope you have a horrible Christmas. I hope you don't get anything you asked for. Shayla, I hope you don't get them anyway.
Too late. It's already came in the mail. Baltimore Ravens.
Do that, huh?
Yeah, man. Got to get it what I can. Baltimore Ravens at Cincinnati. Rams at home to close the season versus the Steelers.
2-1. I think they beat. Well, see, I got to make sure I match this up because I can't say. Man. I said that the Bengals would beat them, so I got to be consistent. But this is a must-win game. By the way, if Baltimore loses this week, like Cincinnati, you could eliminate Baltimore. I know mathematically you won't eliminate them, but if they lose their 4th straight, they're done. I think they're close to being done now. Losing 3 straight at this time of year is pretty bad. But Cincinnati could eliminate Baltimore this week, in my opinion. So I think that you're going to get an inspired Baltimore team. I hate to do this, but I got to stay consistent. I think they lose to Cincinnati. They lose to the Rams. And I think they beat Pittsburgh, but I don't know, man. At that point, they would have given up by then. I don't know. I think they lose their next 3. based on because I picked Cincinnati to beat them, I can't turn around and say that they win 2 of their next 3 because I'm not picking Baltimore over the Rams, and I could pick them over the Steelers, but at the same time, the Steelers might have something to play for in that last week, and Baltimore may not. I'm going to say they don't win the rest of the year. I think Baltimore's done.
I could argue that the Rams is their easiest game.
Ooh,
I could argue that. Because it's going to be
Homer, Steeler Homer. You hear that?
No. I could argue that the Rams is their easiest game because they're coming all the way east for a 1:00 kick and everything like that. So you got Baltimore finishing the season at 8-9. I got them beating the Bengals, then losing to the Rams and losing to the Steelers to finish the season 9-8. That's what I got. So this is the next 4 for, well, we'll do the Steelers. Steelers 7-6-1 right now. The next 3 at KC, which is a loss. I think everybody
7-7-1.
So yeah, 7-7-1. Then Browns at home at Baltimore.
So Steve from Springboro, shout out to the True American. He was out at the show yesterday. I had to tell him to be nice. A Cowboys fan was out there and offered him Bernie Kosar card, and he of course, no, I don't want it. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, be nice. It's a nice fan. You got to learn how to play nice. Steve from Springboro, you got to learn how to play nice with people, man. Coming from me, that says a lot. I know. But anyways, he brought up a good point. He said that Pittsburgh game scares him. And here's why. For one, it should scare. It's Pittsburgh, and weird stuff always happens in that series. But Kev, that's Big Ben's last home game. That Steelers game scares the you-know-what out of me, because if there was ever a time for Pittsburgh to play their most inspired football, it could be to win, to be in the division lead, could be to make the playoffs, or at the very least to send Big Ben off with the victory at home. That game scares the hell out of me. But ultimately, they already beat Cleveland. I don't think that they're good enough to beat Cleveland twice, but I know everything's an isolated situation. But it's really hard for me to wrap my head around losing to Pittsburgh twice with how poor they've been, but yet they have the same amount of wins as Cleveland. So how poor are they? This is frustrating, man. I don't know. Repeat it again. They got the Raiders tonight.
No, this is the Steelers.
Or the Steelers.
At KC.
At KC, it's a loss.
Home Browns at Baltimore.
I think they beat Baltimore. Big Ben's last game. I think they lose close to Cleveland. I think it's a closer game because Pittsburgh don't play their butts off because it's Big Ben's last home game. But I think they lose a close one there because I'm a homer. And then they're going to lose to Kansas City. So they're going to go, or did I just say they'll lose all 3? No, they'll
you said it'd be Baltimore.
The fact that they win 8 games, by the way, with that roster, with Big Ben playing the way he has, Mike Tomlin should get more Coach of the Year talks than Harbaugh, but that's just me. But keep going.
Got him losing to KC. Got him beating the Browns. Got him beating the Baltimore Ravens to finish 9-7-1. And I'm going to pull a full Kenner right here. This KC game is unwinnable. You're not going to beat them.
Oh, you have a chance to win every game, Kev. Can I play the bumper sticker game?
I am taking the bumper sticker off. I am rolling out there. I am dialing up Jermaine Washington, my older brother, used to play wide receiver in high school. I'm calling up Kevin Washington. That would be me. I'm calling up D. Fort, who is my cousin who used to play quarterback in high school. I'm calling up all those people to play against the Kansas City Chiefs. So they're going to lose regardless. If it's me, you, Big Ben, Minka Fitzpatrick, anybody playing, they're going to lose. Let them rest up for the Browns and Ravens. And if you beat the Browns and Ravens, you might actually do this. But it's almost like, hey, man, KC starting to click at the right time. It's almost like a waste of time, in my opinion, man. Granted, we know what Coach Tomlin's going to do. He's going to fire up the troops. They're going to go out there and get down by like 21 points. And then miracle will happen. They'll cut it to 3 in the fourth quarter and then end up losing by 10. That's what's going to happen. That's always what's happening. That's what's been happening all dang on season. But I got the Steelers going 9-7-1 to go 2-3 down their final 3 games. So we're moving on to your team.
Oh, no, we're out of time. No, seriously, we will. We'll get to the Cleveland Browns as they're about to kick off with the Raiders, a 5 o'clock kickoff. The Raiders are a 3-point favorite at Cleveland. And we'll take a look at the Browns' final 3 games. I have the Bengals going 1-2 to finish. Or did I say 2-1? I'm sorry, 2-1 to finish.
Yep, you said 2-1.
Steelers 1-2, Ravens potentially 0-3, but I'm going to give them one in that final week. We'll get to that. But the Browns, with what's in front of them, man, this is fun. Meaningful games in December. All I said is I wanted Browns and Bengals to mean something, and it's going to mean something, assuming that they don't, crap the bet tonight. Browns 3-point underdogs at home with the Raiders in town, and it's not about who the Browns don't have. It's not about who the Browns have tonight. It's about who they don't have, and what a weird circumstance. We'll be back in a moment. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Tried Eucrisa for mild to moderate eczema? It works at and below the skin surface and can be used on almost everybody, like on the dimples of a diva. Yeah, roll your boat. Yeah, roll your boat. Or the shoulders of a chef. Look, Mom, I made jelly beans on toast. Steroid-free Eucrisa works at and below the skin surface. It blocks PDE4 enzymes, which is believed to reduce inflammation, even on the wrist of a rebel.
What did you do to your hair?
What? The specific way Eucrisa works is not well defined. Prescription Eucrisa for mild to moderate eczema is for topical use only in ages 3 months and up. Do not use if you are allergic to Eucrisa, crisaborole ointment 2%, or its ingredients. Allergic reactions, including hives, itching, swelling, and redness, may occur at or near the application site. The most common side effect is application site pain, such as burning or stinging.
Come on, moms and dads. Check out Eucrisa.com and ask your doctor about Eucrisa.
Can I sing one more song?
Fever is a potential sign of COVID or the flu, and the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Be accurate with Exergen. Exergen temporal scanners, available at Walmart and other fine retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com. That's EXERGEN.com. Exergen is changing the way the world takes temperature.
Did you know that most adults with autism are unemployed, and a major hurdle is the lack of job opportunities? That's why Autism Speaks is teaming up with Lee Container, the J. Donald and Laurel Lee Family Foundation Fund, and Delivering Jobs to create a more inclusive workforce in the U.S. Are you an HR professional, community leader, or business owner? Join us in creating a workforce where people of all abilities can contribute and thrive. To learn more, visit autismspeaks.org/employment.
Furnished by the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno-country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Polking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun or a great night out with friends. Ring in the new year with your family and friends with a bowling party as we count down to 2022. Polking offers all the party favors and a great food menu this New Year's Eve. This event sells out every year, so don't wait. Reserve your lane today. Safe, sanitized, and socially distanced. Let the good times roll at Polking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue, Polking Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kingsridge Drive.
Want to get out of your dead-end job, but think you don't have time? Think again. Now you can complete the My Computer Career Evening Program in 30 weeks, almost 30% shorter. You could start your new life as an IT pro in months, not years. More than just a school, My Computer Career helps you get into the industry by working with employers that have hired our students. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Did you know Prilosec OTC can stop frequent heartburn before it begins? Yep, I said before. Block heartburn at the source by taking the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. With just 1 pill a day, you get 24-hour heartburn relief. That's all day. Start the 2-week challenge today at prilosecotc.com and live heartburn free. Just 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Give the gift of a Dayton tradition. Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps. Milano's gift cards are the perfect way to give good times and those favorite subs and pizza to family and friends. Right now, for each $25 Milano's gift card you buy, you'll get $5 more free.
Winterfest is on at Lowe's. And with aisles of savings on gifts like appliances, you'll find exactly what you need to make more holiday.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
We got a close one in Cleveland. We're all tied up at 0 as they officially kicked off just a few minutes ago. Under a minute to go. Or, I'm sorry, 1 minute in, under a minute to go. 1 minute into the contest, of course. We'll keep you updated. But how about this? Nick Mullins has completed his first 3 passes for 21 yards. 7 yards in the attempt, man. Not bad. Dearness Johnson, 1 carry, -2. Nick Chubb, 2 carries, -3. Man, that offensive line. You need that offensive line. How about
keying in on that run.
Holy moly. But the Raiders have the ball now, and we'll keep you updated on this game as it goes. We appreciate everyone who's joining us now live on Facebook. We're still trying to get this phone situation figured out, but once we do, we will get to taking your calls immediately. So we were talking, of course, about the AFC North race. And someone said on my page earlier today, man, this is so fun. They're the best division in football. I'm like, I'm not willing to go there. I think they're easily the most competitive division in football. I don't think that they're the best division in football. That's not a shot. I mean, I just think you watch these teams. Do the Steelers look like one of the top teams in football? No. The Browns, with all the injuries and everything they're going through, do they look like a top team in football? No. The Ravens, with all the injuries, do they look like a loser? They've lost 3 straight. Do they look like a top team? No. The Bengals, I think on paper, they look better than everyone else in the division right now just because those guys are out there. You have all your hitters. But you watch them play, and they're just not consistent enough on both sides of the ball. No, I don't think they're the best division in football, but easily the most competitive. And, man, it has set up a fun race to the finish line, and I can't wait for the next month. I mean, this is exciting. Last year, the highlight of the Bengals in December was upsetting the Steelers. That was the highlight of that, right? Like, I mean, the Steelers, they didn't have a lot to feel good about because, they started out 11-0 and then it just snowballed out of control quickly. And look at that. The Ravens did their thing, but, they had Cleveland and Baltimore had an exciting game in December that Lamar had to leave because he had a bathroom attack. Remember, or as they said, cramps. They didn't specify what kind of cramps, stomach cramps. Let's just be real. That was an exciting game. So this is exciting. This is fun. A bad game yesterday between the Bengals and Denver still provided a fun finish to a game that, even the ugly moments led to being the most entertaining with the turnover. But like it was good defense by both sides. Denver has a good defense. Cincinnati has a good defense. Denver had an excuse for their offense playing poor. Cincinnati doesn't. But, that's been my big criticism of them as far as that's concerned. But it has led to where we're at now. Browns-Raiders. Browns win. They're division leaders. They lose, they're in last place. So we went through the final games remaining for the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Steelers. That brings us to the Browns, and that's where we pick up where we left off.
Absolutely. Raiders tonight. Well, right now, it's happening. It's underway. Browns, Raiders right now. At Packers on Christmas Day. At Steelers. Close out the season at home versus the Bengals.
I know this sounds crazy. The Browns will go 1-1 in their next two games, the Raiders and the Packers. I don't know where that win's coming. If it comes tonight, I know this sounds funny. They win tonight, they're probably losing on Christmas Day. I don't know why I'm saying that. I just feel like they're going to put so much emotional energy into this game tonight. Short rest, preparation, Christmas Day. So many. I think they'll lose. If they lose tonight, they'll be playing as desperate as they've ever played before, as their season will officially be over. They lose to the Raiders and the Packers, their season's done. They will come away with the win somehow, some way over these next two. They will win tonight when they shouldn't, or they'll win tonight and they shouldn't, and then they'll lose to Green Bay, or they'll lose tonight and win on Saturday when they shouldn't. But that's to make the playoffs, you have to win games that you're not supposed to. Right. They're not supposed to win tonight. They have to find a way to win. And if they lose, they got to find a way to beat Green Bay. They're not supposed to beat Green Bay at Green Bay on Christmas Day. Don't care. To make the playoffs, you got to win games that you're being counted out on. You're going to lose games you shouldn't and win games you shouldn't. And Cleveland's going to have to find a way to come out on top on one of these. So I think they split these next two between the Raiders and Green Bay. And then they have, Pittsburgh?
At Pittsburgh, home Bengals.
That's that tough one, Pittsburgh. That's Big Ben's final home game. For me to guarantee a win against Pittsburgh at Heinz Field, at Ketchup Field, as the true American calls it, Ketchup Field. That's tough. That's a tough spot to make a prediction. But, man, this is a tough stretch for them. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say they beat Pittsburgh. They're going to win either the Raiders or the Packers game, so that puts them at 2-1 over their next three. And then I have them beating Cincinnati, even though that game scares me too. I don't feel confident about any of these games to close out, but I do know that they have the talent to get it done if they can get that talent out there. The only good thing about this Raiders game, Kev, is all these guys that tested positive, they can't be tested again moving forward.
Right.
It's the only that's the only silver lining about any of this is that once you be like Nick Chubb can't be tested for the next 2.5 months because he was already on the COVID exempt list already. So he's untouchable for the next 2.5 months. Now this entire roster is untouchable for the next, pretty much the entire roster with the main guys. They're untouchable for the next rest of the season. So there's a silver lining. That's it. Pittsburgh could still be decimated with an outbreak. So can Cincinnati. And I hate that our society has put us in position that we're rooting for outbreaks on teams. That sounds horrible, and that's not necessarily what I'm saying, but that is something to look out for, which is why I got mad at you fans for saying, oh, the league bailed Cleveland out. First of all, they didn't bail them out. They did the right thing, and I'd be saying that even if it was your team, and you better hope that they do the same thing for your team, and they will, thanks to the Browns. So you should be thanking them. We'll see what happens. But 2-1, 3-1 technically.
3-1 down the stretch, so 10-7.
That would tie them with who, based on the
Bengals,
and the Bengals would be 10-7.
Yep.
See, the problem with that would tie them up. But no, the Browns would win the head-to-head, and that would put them over the top. Division champs, baby. How you feel about that? How you like them apples?
For me, these next 4 games and tonight's game is the most critical to me. They have to win tonight's game because regardless of COVID and everything like that, I think they're up against it versus the Packers. Their game being moved from Saturday to Monday. Now you have a short week going on the road. We talk about this all the time on these Thursday night games. Outside of Green Bay, and I think there was somebody else, the road team just does not win these short week games at all. Like it just doesn't happen. So them going to Green Bay, I don't see them getting that victory, but I do see them win it today versus the Raiders. And the Raiders are inside the 5-yard line, by the way. So I have them beating the Raiders tonight, but unfortunately for the Browns fans out there, I have them losing the last 3 games. I have them losing at Green Bay, losing at the Steelers, and losing to the Bengals. So from that, well, man, that's crazy. Do I really have that happening?
That's how I feel. Even the games I pick them to win, I don't feel comfortable picking them to win, but I'm also not comfortable picking Pittsburgh to beat Cleveland. I can't pick Cincinnati with that horrible offense of Cincinnati's, although skillful. I can't pick them beating Cleveland. I just can't. But I also can't pick Cleveland beating Cincinnati because that offense looks dangerous on paper. So I don't know. This is tough, but it's fun. It's a good problem to have, but it's, I kind of wish I was a Packers fan. Just know, we're good. See, the Packers, their disappointment. Aaron Rodgers will disappoint him in the postseason like he does every year, so it's fine. He's the darling in the regular season. That's fine. There's a reason he hasn't got to a Super Bowl in 12 years is because he can't do anything in the playoffs. That's just who he is. He's, good for you. You win regular season games. Harbaugh won you your 12th game last night. Good for you. Aaron Rodgers lets people down in the playoffs every single year. Can't wait to see how he does it again this year. And then he'll blame COVID toe or whatever he feels like, Mr. Hippie guy. We'll see what happens. But anyways, this wasn't a Packers.
Green Bay taking subliminal shots.
It is what it is.
It's exciting, man. It's exciting going down the stretch, man, to see how this is all going to play out because, like you talked about, this AFC North, it may not be the best division, but it's the most compelling because every team is in it. I think the NFC West is the best, but, Seattle isn't a player, but everybody else is. But everybody in the AFC North is a player to try to win it. So, it's going to come down to the wire, man. It might come down to that Browns-Bengals game. If it does come down to that Browns-Bengals game, you going to go?
Not all the way in Cleveland.
To be with your peoples.
My people right here.
I don't think your people like you.
My people like me just fine. What does that even mean? My people don't like me. I don't have, if you want to say I don't have a lot of people, that's damn right. I don't have a lot of people. A lot of people don't like me, but I do have a small group of people.
Are people in the chat?
Huh?
Are people in the chat?
Oh, they can all kick rocks, man. Like that's fine. They're, they keep moving the goalposts when it comes to Joe Burrow. He's great one week, and then he's just young and learning the next week. You guys are unbelievable. So, but it is what it is. But this is a good thing to have. So right now, the Raiders, by the way, how about this game? Derek Carr is 7-7 for 72 yards. Nick Mullins for the Browns is 3-3 for 21 yards. I mean, both quarterbacks have combined to go 10 for 10 for 100 yards to start this contest. We're under 5 minutes to go in that first quarter. So that game, you could tell it's a lot of handoffs here in the early going too.
Yeah.
Is yours updated before mine? Are the Browns losing yet? It's only a matter of time.
No, the Raiders are back inside the 5-yard line after a holding penalty, 3rd and goal.
Damn it. Get that field. Hold him in a field goal, man. All right, folks, we'll step away for a few moments. So I posted this on my page over the weekend. Something happened in Miami at the Dolphins game that I found to be the most funniest thing in the world. So I went to Pensacola back in 2020 to propose to Nora. And when we got there, a hurricane hit.
Sweet dude.
And power was out of the island for the entire stretch, or not the entire stretch, but for a good chunk of the time that we were there. Everything was operating on generators and everything. And, it's just, we had no running water. It was just a disaster, but we toughed it out because I'm like, if there's one day that we can get out of this, I'm going to make this proposal happen. And it worked out fine, but it had there was a lot of room for error, though. Let's just put it that way. Well, one of the worst proposal stories in the history of proposals happened over the weekend at this Dolphins game. Absolutely hilarious. I have that for you next. Don't go anywhere.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno-country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
We're a farm store, a family store, Look what I found, store. We're a store made for real people and some real beasts. We're a hey neighbor kind of store and an everyday low price store. We're Rural King, and we're working hard to be your favorite store. Need a little wow factor for someone special? Ariat Rebar Durastretch Riveter jeans make a great looking, great fitting gift, starting at $59.95.
I love your vacation home. How much time do you spend here?
As much as we want. And when we're not using it, we rent it out. Our amazing team cares for and markets it on all the major booking sites.
What team does all that?
Vacasa. They manage everything, and I see it all on my phone. Vacasa has been earning us over 20% more income on average from our vacation home.
Your vacation home earns you that much?
It's not a vacation home. It's a Vacasa home.
Get your free vacation income estimate to see how much your vacation home can earn you today. To learn more, call 937-646-7526 or visit vacasa.com/increase20.
In 2007, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Manion was killed in Iraq after saving his wounded teammates. Travis's legacy lives on through the words he spoke before his final deployment. If not me, then who? Words that today fuel the spirit of Travis Manion Foundation. And through TMF, these words can live in you too. Show the world what you're made of, because character is invisible until it's not. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians at travismanion.org.
I'm Serena Williams. You watch me live on TV.
And I'm the dad from that hilarious sitcom you watch on demand. Thanks to DirecTV Stream, our worlds have been brought together.
And there's a laugh track.
Oh, who them? Yeah, well, they kind of just follow me everywhere.
Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on demand with no annual contract. Get your TV together at directv.com.
Requires high-speed internet and compatible device. Content varies by package and location. Restrictions apply.
Take home Fricker's Holiday Feast. Frickin' yum, 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 yum. Our gift cards always please. Frickin' yum, 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 yum.
Take home 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $29.99, carry out only. Buy a $25 Frickers gift card and you'll get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. The ho, ho, ho! For fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Frickin' yum, yum.
Hurry into Mattress Firm's year-end sale. Get up to 50% off select mattresses from Sealy, Serta, Sleepy's, and more. In stock for fast delivery.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be clear and sunny, a high near 42. Tonight's going to be mainly clear and cold, a low around 28. And tomorrow will be clear and sunny, a high near 46. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
D-Max, home of the Duramax diesel engine, is now hiring in Moraine and Brookville. To learn more about D-Max and all current openings, go to DMAXengines.com. That's DMAXengines.com. D-Max, your engine for success.
Who brought the sauce?
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I made the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
I am the sauce.
Who brought the sauce?
Spill the sauce? Quick, the Quicker Picker-Upper. Bounty picks up spills and messes quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading ordinary brand.
Who brought the sauce?
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I made the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
I am the sauce.
Who brought the sauce? Okay.
Bounty, the Quicker Picker-Upper.
All right, listen up, people. Sean Avery here. If you enjoy alcohol, chances are at some point you've been hungover, torn up in the Hurt Locker. Well, here's a little secret. Goodies hangover powder relieves pain fast, helps wake you up, and it tastes good. I'm not kidding around. You got a case of ginfluenza, bourbonitis? No problem. Get Goodies hangover powder. Real medicine for real hangovers.
Goodies hangover, aspirin and caffeine in powder form. Place on tongue and take with water. Hangover responsibly. Find it at Walmart.
With the new law, more people qualify for financial assistance at healthcare.gov. Real customers like Taylor.
You know, I wish people knew how easy it was to get health coverage. This new law has made it so affordable. I'm only paying $52 a month, but there are quality plans for even less.
New law, lower prices, more people qualify. Enroll by January 15th at healthcare.gov.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Body Shop Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. Our technicians have over 125 years of total experience. That means we can repair your vehicle correctly and efficiently. So when you need a dependable body shop, we're here. And we repair all makes and models with new state-of-the-art equipment to get you back on the road quickly. Plus, we offer loaner cars during service and free estimates. Stop by and see us. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, State Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Skyline gift cards make great last-minute gifts. Now through Christmas Eve, you'll get a free $5 gift certificate when you buy $30 in Skyline gift cards at participating Skyline restaurants. See store for details. Feeling good. It's Skyline time.
Winter is here, and Rob's Beer Barn is stocked with seasonal refreshments and holiday beers, and they're going fast, just in time for your favorite sporting events. Rob's Beer Barn also has you covered for your holiday plans. At Rob's, you'll find all the ice-cold refreshments you'll need: craft, imported, local, and seasonal beers, fine wine, snacks, and ice. Plus, Rob's Beer Barn has apparel. For last-minute items, you can call, walk in, or drive through. Stock up today. Rob's Beer Barn on Indian Ripple Road at Darst, just a mile east of the Green. Rob's Beer Barn, just look for the Beaver.
At CDW, we get that even the biggest jobs need to fit on your lap.
It's true. My entire workday happens right here on my lap.
And you can get it done faster with the performance and security of a device configured by CDW and powered by the Built for Business Intel V Pro platform.
Nice.
Are you done yet, Mommy?
More time for story time.
An even better use of your lap. IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/Intel client.
Fever is a potential sign of COVID or the flu, so make sure you use an accurate thermometer. Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Exergen Temporal Scanners are available at Walmart and other fine retailers. Learn more at exergen.com. That's EXERGEN.com.
At Lowe's Winterfest, finding the right gift can feel full-on festive. Explore the holiday happenings and save on drills, tools, and more.
You need an accurate thermometer to check for fever, a potential sign of flu or COVID. Be vigilant and contact your medical provider at the first sign of fever. Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Exergen Temporal Scanners are available at Walmart and other fine retailers. Learn more at exergen.com. That's EXERGEN.com. Exergen is changing the way the world takes temperature.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Fill up your tool cabinet and save on Masterforce power tool accessories at Menards. Masterforce has a large selection of power tool accessories with over 400 in stock. From drill bits and hole saws to blades and sandpaper, Masterforce has everything you need to spend less time shopping and more time doing. Save big money on Masterforce power tool accessories. Plus, give the perfect gift with the Menards gift card today.
More seasons, greetings to you all from Menards.
I just need to get home and watch this damn game. And I want to be able to get to the game before it is out of hand. That's all, they're already down 7-0. Derek Carr apparently just absolutely diced up the Browns secondary. And Browns, look, they have a ton of guys out, but the one touchdown score that's already been thrown, it was against Denzel Ward. So how am I supposed to sit here and say, oh, it's the secondary when it's Denzel Ward that they threw to? Look, I know listen to this list, Kev. This list is nauseating for me. So here's the list of the guys that are out for the Browns today. No Baker Mayfield, no Kareem Hunt, no Austin Hooper. All right, no Grant Delpit, no Jarvis Landry, no Jedrick Wills, no Jadeveon Clowney, no Mac Wilson, no Troy Hill, no Ronnie Harrison, no Jamie Gillen, which that could be a good thing sometimes. But this is just, it's insane. No Jacob Phillips, no Tony Fields, no AJ Green. The list goes on and on and on. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 18 guys. And the majority of them are starters. And I got annoyed with the fans that were like, oh, they're bailing the Browns out. Do you believe that the Browns are, first of all, not just because they didn't get guys back, but everyone's like, so they pushed the game back for this? They pushed the game back to give them a chance to let some of these guys through. I actually think the NFL looks better in this because they're showing that we're still going to be strict with our policies, but we're willing to adapt and pivot. I think the only name they got back was Johnson. That's the only name they got back for today.
Yeah.
I think that the NFL would have looked kind of sketchy if you had all these positive tests and then everyone's able to play just a few days later. I think that would have been a bad look. I wish they could be out there. My thing is this. I can and will use this as an excuse if they lose. However, this should be expected, though, because this could have happened in week 2. It could happen in week 17. It could be the Bengals in week 17. It could be the Ravens this week. It could be anybody. So this is just a part of sports moving forward. You're not going to be able to factor this in. You would have to think that you're going to have a COVID game once a year. Maybe not to this extent. This is a little mind-boggling to me.
Right.
And I'm not here to stir up conspiracy theories against my own team, but someone has brought up that it is what they, just sit there. I got into it with someone over the weekend about that. I was like, dude, relax. They're all vaccinated. There's no sketchiness going on. But you know what? We thought that the Buccaneers were 100% vaccinated, and you had Antonio Brown with the fake vaccination card. How many of these guys are fake vaccinated too? I don't know. I can't throw that out there, just aggressively or not. But it is weird, Kev, that they're the only team. And then what the hell's going on in Cleveland, by the way? Because the Cavaliers have had to cancel games over the weekend because there's a huge outbreak with the Cavaliers.
Right.
And all I know is that when you know a guy and you have and he's done you a favor and you have a lot of really close friends and there's a lot of Cavs players, the Browns are always at the Cavs games. Cavs are always at the Browns games. They're close. Who knows, Kev? It is kind of weird that there's outbreaks all around, but not to this extent. And now you have the Cavaliers canceling games and the Browns because of mass outbreaks, not 1 or 2. The Cavs had 5.
Yeah.
The Browns have 20, now 18 after they passed the second COVID test. Look, I'm not here to accuse anyone of anything. I'm just pointing out something to make you think a little. It is weird. It is very weird. And if something Antonio Brown has happened in Cleveland where you were defending, that's why I'm hesitant to defend Cleveland 1,000,000%. Say, something weird could have happened. Hey, I know a guy that can get us this COVID card, guys. Don't worry about it. Let's just get through Now everyone's been exposed to it. Now it's running rampant. Because why is it the other teams that are highly vaccinated aren't having this run rampant?
Well, the Rams
it could
are.
Be, but not to this extent, though. I agree.
Rams are at 15?
Yeah, but maybe they know the same guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I miss the NFL.
Let's be clear. OBJ, he goes, I got to know a guy. But I'm just saying, it's reckless on my part to possibly throw that out there. But you know what? It is something I'm thinking about. I'm like, it is weird. And if Cleveland's to blame for this because of something that they did, then you know what? That's on them. But as of right now, with the information we know, every name on this list that I gave you is vaccinated. But this is part of football. It's part of sports moving forward. Let me ask you, Kev, who, in your opinion, which league is handling this the best right now? There's the NBA, who seems to be making their policy stricter, which is leading to more games being stopped.
Yeah.
There's college, who is stopping games left and right. Ohio State, their outbreak has occurred. They, missed the game at Kentucky over the weekend. They're supposed to have a game tomorrow that's officially been canceled. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of these teams. Wright State's supposed to play NC State later this week. I would not be surprised to see NC State say, you know what, we don't need these non-conference, cupcake games right now. No, we're good. UD just wrapped up. They lost over the weekend or whatever, but they have a big one coming up to close out non-con play. So not a big one, but a game coming up, not a big one by any means, but a final dress rehearsal before going to conference only. If you're UD, do you cancel that game? If you're, Ohio State's canceling games, I don't know. Who's handling this the best right now at the risk of course, getting everyone all fired up and, keep your liberal agenda out of here and blah, blah, blah. That's not what this conversation is. I'm just curious who's handling it the right way. Because I will say, if we're going to get a little political here, we can't sit here and say, you got to get vaccinated. That's the only way you're going to get to play. You got to wear a mask. It's the only way you're going to get to play. Because clearly, even when they're following these protocols, it's still leading to mass outbreaks. So it's like, well, if we're going to have mass outbreaks, why are we even doing all these extra things anyways? Again, not me saying, I'm just saying, I see why this is becoming even more divisive now, because how can you continue to push the importance of getting vaccinated, getting boosters, doing this, that, so that we can have a season, all while looking at a team like Cleveland in the NFL right now. And it's like, well, they did everything right. The Browns are one of the most vaccinated, highest percentage of vaccinated players in the league. And they've had the biggest outbreak of anybody, even since the pandemic started vaccines. I don't know what the answer is there. I can't sit here and say, I think you need to get vaccinated. I think you need to do this. I think you do, just for the standpoint of your safety, whatever, whether you think it helps you or not, fine. But from a sports angle, I can't sit here and say, these guys need to get vaccinated so we can have a season. By the way, did you see Kyrie Irving?
Yeah.
Okay, the irony in that is pretty damn funny. I'm not laughing at someone who tested positive for COVID. However, it is pretty damn ironic that the Nets finally broke down, bring that mofo back. Finally, he's going to come save us. And then not even 24 hours into him coming back, Kev, he tests positive, and now he's back on the list too. So it's like, this is just a crap show, man. But who's handling this right or wrong?
This reminds me of a situation that went down with the Browns back in the Derek Carr, Braylon Edwards, Kellen Winslow, the second days.
Back in my day.
They had a staph infection, their virus that gets on wrestling mats and things like that. They had a staph infection breakout inside the facility, and they had to shut down the facility so many times because it was a staph infection. Is something that can get in your bloodstream and get you very ill. This reminds me of that. This outbreak that's happening on the Browns, seems like basically almost everybody has it. They had Myles Garrett. He was at practice, but he didn't practice. You know what I'm saying? They basically didn't practice. They put him in a bubble, basically. As far as what league is handling this the best, I don't know. This thing is happening at such a high rate. This new wave of it's happening at such a high rate. I'm not even sure what you can do. I'm not sure what you can do because they're up against it. They're up against it from season ticket holders. Was you gonna tell all right, no more fans in the stands? You think the NFL gonna reimburse that money? You think the NBA is gonna reimburse that money? You think the NHL is gonna reimburse these fans that already paid their money to come through the turnstops and go to the game? They already had one season without fans and everything like that. I just read an article about the NBA talking about a bubble. They said bubble's not happening. So they're not about to turn down that revenue again. So everybody's trying their very best. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to try to pull this off, these seasons off with the constant flying back and forth to this city, to that city. You stay in your hometown, then you go home for the holidays. You go home to see your peoples during a bye week like the Browns players did. And then now people pop up with COVID and everything like that. Then you say well, oh man, you can't go home. You can't go visit your family. Oh, Baker Mayfield going out to do great community work. Nope, don't do that neither. So it's just difficult. And at this point, my question is, you say this all the time about we're just going to have to learn to live with it. Is this about to become like an ankle injury, a high ankle sprain? Is that what COVID is going to eventually become? Like,
I think this is the start to that. And here's the thing. At our jobs, we know COVID exists. Come to work. If you're sick, stay home. Like, why is that? Why are we expecting the NFL? We say all the time, yeah, well, this is their job. They have to do, well, this is their job. It's the same concept. I still think there needs to be policies in place. Testing, obviously, you need to do some things to help protect you in the spread of this, to cover your behind. But I just think that you're going to have situations like this in Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland is a perfect example of an organization that did everything right based on what is being asked of them. Get vaccinated. If you get vaccinated, you have less of a chance of a hiccup along the season. It's just beyond ironic that the NFL pushed this, and the one team that's been decimated by this more than anyone else in the league is one of the highest vaccinated rated teams in the league. That's where this has become divisive now. So now when you head into next season and the NFL tries to pull this, you need your boosters. If you don't have, we don't care if you got vaccinated last year. If you don't provide proof of a booster, we're going to talk about booster percentages next. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be vaccinated percentages. It's going to be booster percentages. The NFL got everyone to get vaccinated, 90+% of the league. So now next year it's going to be, well, now you need to get that booster. If you don't get that now, like I promise you, the phrase booster percentages, that will be used a ton next offseason and into the next year. The way, we talked about getting the vaccine now, because that's the only way that this is going to continue moving forward. They're going to continue pushing this to cover their behind. Hey, the NFL can say, well, we're not going to stop play. We might be a little lenient on moving games like this Browns situation, but we're not going to postpone games, or we're not going to cancel games, or we're not going to have no fans at games. We're not going to put travel mandates in or anything like that, because at a certain point, we all have to agree, we got to find a way to operate within this. We got at a certain point. And I think that's what the league and most businesses are getting to at this point. It's no longer trying to combat it. It's just, okay, what is the simplest way to continue on through this? This is not a political conversation, so I don't need no hee-haw responses in the post. I'm just throwing that out there now. So save it. I have no interest in talking about the back and forth of the politicalization of this. No interest in that. We are strictly talking from a standpoint of whether you believe in it or not, whether you're taking it serious or not, it's going nowhere. The thing that you think doesn't exist, that's things going nowhere. And those who are terrified of it, it's also going nowhere. So there has to be a happy medium. I think that the NFL's done the best job of all the leagues. I think that the NBA continuing to cancel is not the right answer. But in their defense, they have more leeway. They have more days to do this. So I don't have a problem with it. But I don't think the NFL's handled this improperly. The only thing the NFL did wrong was not having a plan for this ahead of time, for not accounting for this. They just assumed, based on the information, though, the information was get vaccinated. It's going to limit the spread. You're going to be fine. The biggest outbreak has come amongst the team with one of the highest vaccination rates in the league. That combats that. That neglects, or that negates that, right? I don't know, man. I just think that the NFL, I don't think the answer is canceling games. I think college, you're going to see more canceled games in college, because I think you're dealing with student athletes, and I think that that's going to make that a little bit more dicey. As we saw how ugly that got, I thought that college was the ugliest of everything that's in sports throughout this. But I think that the NBA needs to figure it out quicker. And as far as how they're going to approach this. But I don't think the answer is continue cancel. I don't think the answer is empty stadiums, empty ballparks, empty arenas. But at the same time, I also don't think the answer is, show up to work, sick or not, we don't care. I think both can be true at the same time. I think that the NFL has done a decent job as far as that's concerned. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, the NFL, man. The NFL, and not even just NFL, sports in general, they're not going to say like, all right, man, we're going to stop the show because nobody else, no other organization or no other business is stopping their show. The restaurant business is still open. Travel industry is still open. People are going to Las Vegas and wherever they want to, left and right. So that's going to be their stance. Like, well, why should we stop our show? Nobody else is. So the show must go on, right? So I think that's what the NFL stance or any other sports franchise is going to be. They're just going to we're just going to have to live with it or figure a way out to keep everybody safe and still have the games go on, because at the end of the day, it is a business. it's a sport for sure, but it's a business first.
Yep. And like I said, just to emphasize this, and everyone's been good so far, so thank you for that. I appreciate No, like I just wish, and this is like anything, I remember growing up, politics has always been a thing that is so divisive, but it's never been as bad as it is now. Even non-political things are political, so that's annoying. Sports used to not be political. It's political now. And I don't think it's one side that makes it political. I think both sides make it political, so let's just make that clear. Here's us not talking politics. But my point is that I wish we could have these conversations like this without having the immature comments coming in, and they're not. So I appreciate that. But at the same time, it's like this thing is going I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. This is going nowhere. So rather than complaining about, oh, well, this side's the reason to blame, this side's the reason this is happening and why it's out of control. And well, this side's reckless. They don't care. So they're wrong. That's not helping. Because, I don't, both sides are wrong and both sides are right to a certain degree. There has to be some kind of happy medium. I think as an example for how to navigate through this, that the NFL has actually been very, very, I don't think they were the best last year. I thought that they took they gambled a lot. And I think that just because, you gambled in like the SEC in college football, I thought a lot of college football gambled. And I thought it was a weird stance. See, no one died. You were wrong. I think that's wrong as well, that just because someone didn't die, that doesn't mean that you're right. And I also don't think it was right to risk someone dying to prove a point. But we're here. No one died. It's being proven. I shouldn't say no, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's been proven you could do this. You could play through this. There's going to be bumps in the road. And but at the same time, I thought it was wrong of people last year to say, see, you were wrong. No one died. Well, it shouldn't have been. You shouldn't have gambled with that. What if someone did? Would you have said, oh, man, we were wrong? No. You would say, yeah, but that person was out of shape, or that person was, whatever. That person had a pre-existing condition. Like, you've heard all the excuses.
Yeah.
And then, but on the flip side, hey, no one did get severely ill. But no one on the other side is saying, yeah, maybe we overreacted to this a bit. Both sides are just as equally wrong for this. There has to be more of an equal line when it comes to the sports view of this, as far as that goes. But they played an entire college football and basketball and NFL and Major League Baseball, and they played 2 NBA seasons. This is the third. Isn't that crazy? This is the third NBA season within the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
That is nuts to me. That is crazy to me. But we played multiple NBA seasons without a vaccine. We've played now in year 2 of the NFL with, of this pandemic, one without a vaccine, one with. Baseball has played multiple seasons through this now, one without a vaccine, one without fans, one with. One started without fans and navigated through. So these sports have made it through the worst without a vaccine, and now we're seeing the worst even with the vaccine. It's crazy. And that's why, as this goes on, there's going to be enough to prove both sides right, and there's enough to prove both sides wrong. And in the meantime, we're just all screaming at one another, calling each other names, hee-hawing it up, and it's annoying. It's annoying, but it is what it is.
I think it's pretty apparent that, it's quote-unquote safer in the warmer weather months. So do you think that the sports calendar will be moved up? Like that will start the NFL season in August?
Sure. You know how the NFL works. We'll start it in August. And you know what? We'll add 2 more games at the back end of the season. So, yes, I think, the NFL's too stubborn. But I will say the 2 most stubborn, like college football and the NFL, football was the most stubborn of all the sports, and they've been the most successful through this. They've gotten their championships in. They've gotten their games in, their playoffs in. There's been no hiccups. The hiccups, they flattened out, and they're fine. The NBA has made things a little bit harder. I think they're making it harder now than it has to be honest. I just think and it's helped that they've updated their rules too. Now you can add guys to the roster. Before it was they've made it, they've adjusted that. But I think that sports, they need to have plans. They need to have plans for things they haven't even thought about.
Yep.
The NFL has been very good at this. The one thing they didn't account for was what happens when there's an outbreak amongst the vaccinated. But in their defense, they've been told, hey, there's no chance of an outbreak amongst the vaccinated. You might have a breakthrough case here and there. Oh, crap. This is beyond a breakthrough. This is a breakthrough spread now. Like, this isn't just 1 or 2 guys. So I think that this is going to teach a lot of lessons in regards to being prepared for the unthinkable. And this pandemic's an unthinkable one on top of that, but annoying nonetheless.
What if the NFL decided to do an investigation on the Browns? Like you were talking about, I
think they should. I'm admitting, I think it looks weird. unless we, and I don't want another major outbreak like this to happen, but Kev, it looks weird. That's my opinion. We're paid to give our opinions. I'm not trying to stir the pot. I'm not trying to upset anyone. I don't think I'm trying to say anything too controversial, but I don't think it's that crazy to sit back and say, okay, if it was like the Rams had a few guys out amongst vaccinated. Okay, weird, not that weird. 20. And then you look at Cleveland, the Cavaliers, they have 5, which, it's only 5, but that's a lot for a much smaller NBA roster. But 20, and then it's weird that it's all the starters. Isn't that crazy? I mean, this is in Cleveland is known to have some of the worst luck in the history of sports. But then there's this. This is just beyond bad luck. I don't know. By the way, what's the game at right now?
7-0.
7-0. Attaboy. That at Cleveland. Don't give up any more points and just give yourself a shot, would you? Holy moly. Appreciate everyone in the comments section, though. Matt Sturgeon says, so country needs to take a deep breath, especially at this time of the year. I agree, but come January 1st, we're right back to throwing haymakers, baby. By the way, Jake Paul, did you see that swing?
Oh, my goodness. KO City.
Where are you at with City? Him? I know I respect people like him who no one likes and just continues to do their thing, and then they come out on top. He keeps coming out on top. I was laughing at Le'Veon Bell that said, "Once you step in the ring with the real boxer," and he goes, "Let's do." Le'Veon Bell, and I said, "So Le'Veon Bell, you say, hey, you haven't proven anything yet. Step in the ring with the real boxer. So you're a football player, and that's your solution. You think that's going to matter? Because when he knocks you out, then it'll just be, well, still hasn't faced a boxer yet. What's going on here? Where do you see this going? Because I give him credit. He looks the part, and he's doing what he says he's going to do. And people hate people that are like that. People hate arrogant, cocky people like Jake Paul who go out there and back it up. That's what makes him interesting. And I think that was an impressive knockout win that he had over the weekend. And I think he had one hell of a 21. And I think 22 is going to be a big year where you see him get some legitimate ring time with some dudes. We'll see what happens.
Look, I respect anybody that get into the boxing ring. You couldn't pay me enough to get in there and get punched in the face for $1. Ain't no way. So I respect it. I do want to see him work his way up to fighting real boxers, though. And that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. Like, no, I'm not expecting him to be like, all right, let's do this, Floyd Mayweather. Like, come on, man. Like, in a real professional fight or fight Errol Spence or something like that. No, come on. Like, you have to work your way up there because there's ring experience and everything like that. So, like, I think there is an avenue for him to do that. But the flip side to that, why would he do that? Why would he get into a ring with a professional boxer? He's making more money.
I was just going to say,
doing celebrities and having all this stuff go on than he would any other way. And I'm not sure. I can't speak for him, but is his goal to become the middleweight champion of the world? Is that the goal, or is his goal to, hey man, I really like boxing. I'm having fun. I like this. Oh yeah, you gonna pay me a lot of money to do it too? Yeah, let's do this. Is that the goal? Because if that's the goal, he's doing a tremendous job at that. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to have a heck of a year, man, because they're not fighting 12, 15 rounds, just like a 6-7 round fight. He's working his way up. And I mean, let's not act like Tyron Woodley is just like a dude on the street. Like, he's a former MMA fighter, so he knows how to fight. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting interesting because you knock somebody out like that. That's not a lucky punch. That's not a lucky punch at all.
That was a legitimate just swing. I mean, it was a powerful punch too.
Yeah, and
it's the part.
And this wasn't Nate Robinson either. You know what I'm saying? This is another person that actually fights and used to be a professional fighter for a living. So he dropped him, KO'd him.
All right.
Kiss the canvas.
Final story here as we send Kev off into his Christmas vacation.
Hey.
So Connor Hughes covers the Jets for The Athletic, and he tweeted out the following. By the way, I'm curious on tomorrow's show, since Kev's out, and hopefully we get these phones fixed. The thing is, like, I'm curious, like, when you propose, and us guys, like, some guys put a lot of effort into planning the perfect proposal. Some are like, hey, you want to get hitched? Maybe you just, I don't know. I don't know how deep a thought guys give into this.
We doing this or no?
So yeah. We doing this thing, or we just what? Where's this going? But the more creative you get, and the bigger chance, like that, when you you take that big step, and you want to make it creative, and you want to put yourself out there a bit, you risk it, blowing up in your face. Mm-hmm. Some guys just simple, just go out to dinner, pop out a ring, say, "Will you marry me? Let's do this thing," and throw the most expensive party of your life, or as we call it, getting married. So it was a marriage to start, but now I'm just, as we get further and further into this, am I really? We look at this, I'm like, I like these people, but do we like these people? I mean, let's be real. Especially when it comes to paying for other people's food, you're like, I don't know if I like this person or not.
That much.
But so you get real creative with how you propose, but you take a chance of it blowing up in your face publicly. If you just do it between you and her at a restaurant, or just by yourself, or out in the park, or whatever, and she says no, or it doesn't work out, you've only embarrassed yourself internally. No one has to know about it. But when you do it publicly, there's a lot of room for error.
Yeah.
And this individual decided at the Jets and the Dolphins game, of all places, by the way. I mean, my goodness. I mean, at least someone had a chance of getting a ring at this game, yesterday. This guy wanted to propose to his girl. Connor Hughes covers the Jets for the Athletics that he just tweeted. He goes, so they just did a scoreboard proposal here at Hard Rock. However, they put the graphic up on the board, and it's this couple's picture, and it says, what's her name anyways? Christine, will you marry me? Crowd starts cheering, all 10 of them. They're going nuts. They're having a blast. And then the camera, because you work out, what section you're sitting in, the camera pans over to where they're sitting. They cut away from the graphic to where the two are supposed to be sitting. The guy wasn't there, just the girl sitting there, hand over mouth. The dude must have been out in the concession line. I hope, but what are you doing, dude? You put all that work into there. You put all of that work into the perfect proposal, and you up pooping. You Lamar Jackson that. I hope he didn't have a bathroom attack, and that's why he wasn't there. But knowing how this works, that girl's sitting there comfortable, enjoying the game, while the guy's out standing in line for 25, 30 minutes, getting a $12 beer. It's exactly what you have to imagine happened.
And a soft pretzel.
But you couldn't have told her, no, I guess you have to do what she wants. You want to piss her off before you're about to ask her the biggest question in your relationship, right? I don't know. This is embarrassing. This is a disaster.
We got to get somebody on from UD Arena or another center, how that works. Do they give you an estimated time of when they're going to play it? Because you're right. If they say sometime in the second quarter, we're going to pop it up there, or in between this time and that time, why would you get up? If they say any time in the second quarter, sit your butt down and wait it out. You paid a lot of money for that.
Right? I would imagine you did have to pay money for that. So Scott Campbell, he goes, not only did you put that work into the proposal, but the stadium crew would have told him when it would have appeared.
That's what I'm saying.
You would have to imagine, or at least, hey, timeout, the second timeout.
Yeah, there you go.
Dead ball, or be ready in the third quarter. We're coming to you. We're coming to you in the third quarter. Why would you be out of your seat for anything throughout that? I mean, maybe you got caught up.
Had to be a bathroom situation.
I'm telling you. Can you imagine you missed the biggest proposal of your life because you were pooping?
You had to be. You better not be coming back with
time to break out the thing. Bleep happens, man. And I need to know, did she say yes? I mean, imagine coming back. Hey, baby, I got your drink. I'm in long line for the nachos. And you look up and you just see her I don't know. By the way, Nora warned me if I would have proposed at a game or something, she would have said no.
Wow.
She goes, I mean, I would say yes eventually, but I would have said no then. She goes, if you're going to embarrass me in front of all them people, so me asking you to marry me is embarrassing? She goes, but she didn't like a lot of people looking at her. I'm like, well, this wedding's going to be fun then. So it's just one of those things. I'm laughing because she goes, do not. She goes, if you propose to me at a game, at a Browns game or at a Reds game, in a game, I will say no. Because if you make everyone turn and stare at me, I'm going to turn real red and be embarrassed. I will be mad at you for embarrassing me. So I will embarrass you and say no in front of all those people.
How do you think it would win if you asked her to marry you at a UD basketball game?
First of all, I would never propose at a UD basketball game. Ever. Just say. Ever.
You're the most loved at UD, man. They love you down there.
She wouldn't be able to hear all the boo. Kidder sucks. And I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. There you
have
go.
Coach Grant officiate.
Oh, right. Right there in the mid-court. One of all my closest friends.
Obi, the ring bearer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Crutch, you're your best man. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it is what it is, but nonetheless. But that was a proposal. There has to be more to that story, though. Has to be more to that story. You know that show Impractical Jokers, Last Thing on the Way Out? One of my favorite pranks that they ever pulled was, okay, they don't tell him what you're doing, but he lost the little game that they played, so they have to embarrass the hell out of him. So go out to they're at a minor league baseball game, and a lot of people were there, and they said, hey, go out to the pitcher's mound, and then you'll find out what you're out there for. And then they told him in his ear, no matter what the girl asks you, you have to say no. So they pan over to Joe or whatever his name is from Impractical Jokers, and the woman gets down, she's crying, and she gets down on one knee, and she proposes to him in front of all those people at that game. And they told him, no matter what she asks, you have to say no. So the camera's on him. He's up on the screen. All the fans, they're all cheering because, oh, this is great. It's a proposal. Well, she's in proposing to him, which was, of course, funny. But then he has to say no. So he says no to her in front of all those people. They are booing him like crazy. She's crying and running off the field. And he's laughing because, like, he knows that was the ultimate prank. I'm sorry, but that's the funniest prank I've ever seen.
That is foul.
Telling him he has to say no. The girl's running away crying because she proposed to him. He said no in front of all those people. That was the ultimate prank right there.
That is foul.
All right, folks. Have a good night. Kev, by the way, if there was a sports Santa and you had to sit on creepy sports Santa's lap and ask him for anything in life sports related, send us out with, what are you asking Santa Claus for this year? Sports Santa. If you're asking sports Santa for a sports related gift for Christmas, what is that going to be?
Beyond easy. Cleveland Guardians
winning. Oh,
Cleveland Guardians winning the World Series.
All that, not the Steelers, not
Guardians. I've seen the Steelers win 2 Super Bowls in my lifetime.
They sold their team.
Huh?
The Guardians sold their team.
Sold it.
Yeah. To let's see, this is a horrible story because I don't have all the details, but yeah, partial.
They got another minority owner. Yeah.
So there you go. All right, folks, that's all we have for you today. Kev, Merry Christmas, man. Have a happy night. I don't have you back to after the new year.
Nope. Not back.
This could be our final show. You never know. The bosses could say, Kidder.
Don't say that.
It's been real. You never know. I mean, to be honest, that's when guys get canned, is after the new year. This could be the final Justin Kidder show with Kev Nash. Just joking, sponsors, because I got to thank our sponsors. Just saying. No, folks, have a great night. Well, you're stuck with me solo tomorrow. Kev, have a great Christmas, a great New Year, and we'll do this again. I'll see you next year. All right. Take care, man.
Peace.
Hold up. What's the Browns score? Still 7-0. Gosh, dang it. Bengals, you're lucky. You should thank Cleveland, by the way. You're about to win this division because I'm so irritated with this. Let's go.
Give the gift of a Dayton tradition. Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps. Milano's gift cards are the perfect way to give good times and those favorite subs and pizza to family and friends. Right now, for each $25 Milano's gift card you buy, you'll